Pull up uninvited. Oh, let me set up my lighting. Can you hear me? Sorry, if you someone let me know in the chat if you guys can hear me. Okay. Oh, let me get my Vaseline. 1 second. I pull up uninvited. Really like a circle. Ah, excellent. There we go. Aha, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
I can hear you fine. Usually takes a
Yeah,
minute
I'll
for
tell you.
people to join. Let me just ask.
To be fair though, I've seen on TikTok web that I can actually download something called TikTok Live. It looks like it's a separate like platform, at least for computers anyway. So downloading that, who knows? Maybe I'll be able to join face up.
Yeah, sometimes it lets you do it from there. Hello, hello. And sometimes it lets you like it if you get the PC one. Hello, hello, hello. Just gonna give it a few more
Where's the
minutes.
chat?
What do you mean the chat?
No, right, because you said something about the chat.
Oh,
It's just
you
like
can't
hidden.
you can't see it?
Remember, this is my first time like using IG Live, Loki. So
Instagram, TikTok Live. Probably because no one's messaged something in there. Let me just type so you can see it. Hello, hello, guys. We're gonna start the conversation in a minute. Just giving it a few more minutes for people to join because I was a bit late myself, so I understand. Topper says a church is gonna be a bit longer today. Fair enough. Let me make sure I've got everything set up. Where's Daniel? Nice. Okay, I clearly didn't do a very good job promoting this one because someone that usually joins quite frequently asked me, she didn't realize there was anything happening today. And I was like, well, what do you mean by this? Is what, and I've been posting this on my stories, which means,
so you post every Sunday, but you didn't realize on Sunday you were going to post.
bro, do you know? Yeah, like every flyer says Sunday 2 p.m. Even Daniel, the person that literally one of my best friends, he will be asking me, "Oh, what time is it today?" Like, bro, it's the same time it's always been. Like, can you focus?
I
But
guess so, that one.
um,
Well, it actually doesn't, but still.
he doesn't say what.
I said it gets like that, but now it's like, it actually doesn't, but still.
Nah, it's fine. That's the reality in this
What do
life.
you What do you mean? I'm trying to log into the thing online, and I typed in my password once, and it said wrong, and then it said maximum number of tries reached. I'm like, I tried once,
They do not want you
literally
to.
one time.
They don't want you to be there, man. They're trying to find any way to just say yeah, yeah, bro. Like they're basically saying like how can we say this nicely, but low key we don't really want you here. Um,
I'll do everything in my power, man.
is Amber in church? Can she
Big
focus?
tech, big tech is only big as if you believe in
Yeah,
it.
you believe in it exactly. Oh, you don't get the long hair, Connie.
In the words of Kanye, what's that? What did he say? What's a man to a king? What's a king to a god?
Like,
What's Elon Musk to me if I don't live in this country?
well, Elon Musk isn't on TikTok, but I get your point.
I don't know. Who is this? Is this still the Chinese? I thought like Larry Ellison and those guys are boy up by now.
Yeah, yeah, they bought it. They bought it. They're gonna take it from them soon. I think they're in the process of finalizing the deal. Men only need 3 to 5 real friends, and the rest are acquaintances. This is like the kind of the 1950s caveman thing. How old are you, Bucky? I feel like this is what young people say. It's like when you're 20, you've been reading those masculinity books. You start saying stuff like this.
Where did that come from? Like, What's the context behind him saying that? That's so random.
Because I guess because obviously you can see the screen being shared, and you can see I said what the men be talking about. So
Oh right, yeah, yeah, yeah.
that's
Sorry,
his view
actually,
on male
that's me
friendships.
being slow.
That's all right. I don't think he's even in here anymore. I think he's gone now. Oh no, actually, he is in here. Bucky, how old are you? If you don't mind me asking, I'm curious now because I feel like that's a young man take to have. Like that's the kind of thing young men would say. Anyway, we'll give it like till two
I
ten.
think I can actually go live from my laptop.
Really? Try it.
Yeah,
All right. Let me introduce the
yeah. I want to.
conversation. You do that.
Oh yes.
It's fine. It's fine. You can yeah join do what you need to do. Anyway, all right. Today is What in the World Weekly 12, and I'm gonna be interviewing. Oh, 21. Said you read the Q&A. Had the same close friends here. 7. Your social person overall. Oh, okay, it's pretty good. Pretty cool. I'm gonna introduce the conversation in a minute, and I might have some questions for you in a minute, Bucky, as well, if you don't mind. But this is What in the World Weekly 12, and today is gonna be something somewhat special, you might say. I've been doing this for a while now, and well, not that long, but relatively. But I feel like as you start to grow as a creator and you start making stuff, it's quite important that you let the audience in. I've read a lot about that, like letting them know who you are, what you're about. Because I do this because I enjoy it primarily. So I do enjoy the social aspect of like, you know, interacting with people that watch my stuff. Like we're all friends in a way if you think about it. So this conversation around what men talk about, male friendships, all that kind of stuff. Obviously, there's a general conversation around the male loneliness epidemic and all that other stuff. But there is also a question around like what do men talk about in the sense of who's Balls Dude? Balls Dude, I'll bring you up in a minute. Just give me a second. I'll do that in a minute. But there's also a conversation of like what do men talk about, and I think this is also a good one for like women. I feel like a lot of women have maybe preconceived notions around what male friendships are like, especially if you think about it from a dating perspective, where it's kind of like, oh, guys do stuff because they only their boys want them to, or guys only date this person because their friends approve of it, all that kind of interesting, funny social commentary. I'll be honest, I find it quite entertaining to see. I mean, you see a lot of it on social media. Zoe's already coming in liking it. I love it. Zoe is on code. She understands what we need to do. I'm not gonna start begging for likes at the moment, but yeah, if you can like the live. Bucky says, I think that loneliness happens because it's called feminine to speak on our emotions. I agree with you, and that's part of what we're going to be touching on in this live today, because I feel like a lot of women don't even understand that kind of the sensitivity of male friendships, and I think there's probably also a question to be had around like, I guess when you're younger and you're trying to like develop your friendship, sometimes as a guy, I feel like we've all been there growing up where you're not really sure what level of a lot of emotions we go through. It feels quite alone, and I think there's a lot of stuff on social media where I always joke that women run social media, so it's much easier for them to kind of communicate how they feel about certain things, whereas as men it can be a bit more challenging. But I am 28 now, so as I've grown up, that's become less and less of an issue, and the purpose of today's conversation is to kind of let girls in, well, let other people in as well, not just girls, but mainly girls, because I guess girls don't understand male friendships in the same way guys do, right? We're men, we're friends with each other, we get that, but girls might not have. I hate that as a man take, especially when the person isn't. Exactly. I feel like that's also a good point you made, Bucky, because a lot of girls say
Yeah,
that
it's pretty
as a
wild.
man, how can you say, how can you do X, how can you do Y, like, which to me, I sound like I'm complaining about it. I feel like it erases a lot of our sensitivity, which is part of the conversation we're going to have here today, which is like, what are the things girls don't see, around not only male friendships, just men specifically, men particularly. Oh, V, thank you for sharing the live.
Yeah.
Yes, share the live, guys. Let's get more people in here. It's going to be a fascinating conversation, and I do this every week, every Sunday at 2 p.m. As you can see on the flyer, I'm always live talking about interesting, engaging, exciting conversations. So if you want to be a part of something like this, make sure you're following me so you can at least know when I go live and you can be able to get involved in these conversations. I try to do something a bit different to like all the other lives on here. When I see people go live on here, they're just sitting there talking about nonsense. I respect that, I'm not going to hate on them, but like I do like having conversations that are have a bit more depth, a bit more substance to them. So that's
Oh,
what
there
we're
are
doing
14,
today.
14 people in the chat, so
It's growing.
that's
It's
actually pretty
growing.
sick.
Very nice. Very nice. All right. So I have my friend on here. One of my best friends. I can't say he's my best friend because another one of my best friends is going to be joining the chat later. So I don't want to create any competition and rivalry between them, but we can all be best friends together. And so the way I come up across the flyer is meant to be, I'll just quickly explain that it's meant to be, again, like giving people that don't have a first-hand insight into it. So that's why I got the girls at the bottom saying, what are you talking about? And part of the conversation is also going to get into the more social side, which is like, even when you've been at your recesses, your DLTs, and you have those friends approach you, you know, what did they say before they approached you? What was the conversation between them? How did they, you know, discuss what the plan of attack was going to be? The kind of more humorous things like that, to keep it more lighthearted, but also to get a bit, you know, serious. So the two things we're going to be talking about today is going to be personality and romantic choices. Bucky, your comment is still making me laugh because I'm actually so there with you.
Oh, as a man,
As a man, like you get that so much on social media, and it's like, you know, like there's that guy that compiled the list of all the things you can't do. Like, as a man, why are you using an umbrella? As a man, why are you?
oh yeah.
That's funny. Obviously, I'm not. That one's funny, but it's also kind of like there's a bit of truth in it. In like, there are so many rules that, like, you know, as a man, why are you doing X? Why are you doing Y? Zoe, thank you for the heart. I really love that. Zoe's really enjoying the conversation. Let's keep entertaining her. Okay, so the first thing I want to get through is the romantic choices element, and the reason I'm doing this is because, you know, it is more fun to talk about. But also, I think there is a insightful conversation to be had around. Oh, I should probably do the housekeeping first. You guys know I have to set some rules for the conversation. Generally speaking, getting the word out. I love that. Get the word. Tell a friend to tell a friend. She's evangelizing it. It is a Sunday after all, so I love that, Zoe. Go forth and spread the word. What was that? Matthew 28, something like that. It's the last chapter in Matthew. Don't ask me how I know that. I used to go to church a lot. Anyway, this is my general housekeeping rules. Again, I genuinely try to have insightful conversations on here. So feel free to ask any questions you have in the chat. Bucky's already getting active in the chat, which we love to see. You know, give your thoughts, give your opinions. You know, let's try and not be rude and rage baity generally. Also, let's try and say stuff carefully because TikTok is very sensitive to bad words and stuff like that. So let's make sure we try and keep, I won't say censor yourself, but like, if you're thinking twice about, should I say that? Maybe don't say it. But ask as many questions as possible because it's going to be like a conversation style stuff between, you know, me and my friend on right now, Bissy. But the hope is that a girl can maybe join and ask any questions she might have. So if you're a girl and you've always wondered, like, why do guys do X? Why do guys do Y? Where do guys get X and Y from? Do feel free to request, you know, maybe shortly, come on as a guest and ask those questions. If you don't feel comfortable to come on as a guest, you can add the questions in the comments. It's always nice to have a lively comment section. I think that's good for TikTok because it shows like people are engaged and stuff, and it recommends it. So feel free to kind of, you know, do your general commentary and laughing in the chat. I don't know if Daniel's ready to come up.
Do people pay for all these, like, when they send like roses and stuff like that? Like, did you pay for it?
I have no clue. I don't think
like
so.
Someone sent like this like heart thing because I'm trying to send one. I don't know.
Daniel's ready. All right. I'm going to invite Daniel on as well. We're going to have a little three-way. They do. They pay. Wow. Thank you, Zoe.
Yo, pause, man. What the
hell? All right, man. You get coins. Oh. Fair enough. I really appreciate that. All right, we already on 1K.
What do the coins do? Like,
I think it's meant to translate eventually to like income for the creator, which is me. But I don't think I'm there yet. I think I've got like...
I don't know. We'll talk splits after.
Well, you guys know what to do. If you guys want us to share the money, just send as many of them as you can. And then when TikTok starts paying me, I'm going to start sharing it out to you. So if you don't send stuff, you can't get a share of the money later. I don't understand lives myself. Yeah, neither do I. I never know what's going on. Like, this is only my 7th, 8th one on TikTok. So I'm
only your 7th.
Well, yeah, only. We're growing. I'm still trying to... Anyway, Daniel, what's up? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. You sound very crisp, actually. This is great. Thank you, her voice.
Is mine not crisp?
I'm not sure.
Happy New Year, Dan.
No.
Nice to hear from you again.
Do you make sure to follow me? I don't want to put the follow go on there. I don't want to seem beggy, but maybe I should. You know, I'll do that later when we start the conversation.
You're already here. Might as well beg.
I might as well beg. Exactly. You're right, guys. Make sure
yeah, you're actually already here.
Adi, where's my face?
Begging is just self-promotion.
What do you mean, where's my face? My face is right here. I don't know who V is. I feel like we know each other. Because she just name dropped me, but
no, because like I know V.
That's
yeah, that's
like,
my V. Oh yeah, so by the way, so earlier today I was trying to farm for followers to be able to go on live, but it didn't work out because I just got absolutely trolled. It said I needed 50, then turns out I need like 10,000. So yeah, so I can't have my face on it. But don't worry, next live we'll work on it.
So the confusion you just noticed there is because Bissy and I both have the same name. And so people that actually know us together probably sometimes call us Ade1 and Ade2. So when she said, Ade, where's your face? That's why I responded V, because my name's also Ade. But don't tell anyone that. Anyway, so I'm on here with two of my bestest friends. And the idea is meant to be a kind of, what's my housekeeping message? My housekeeping message is just generally like, just to have a great conversation. Like I mentioned earlier in my intro, I like to have conversations of insight. So I think as the conversation progresses, you're going to understand exactly where I'm trying to go with it. And so if you have any questions for myself or any of my guests, do feel free to ask us. I'm guessing you're a girl. T just said, I didn't know guys did best friends. Yes.
What does that even mean?
What does that? But anyway, you see what I mean? These are the kind of things that I'm going to try to hopefully shed more light. When you leave this conversation, you should hopefully understand a lot more about the male friendship. Because someone just said they didn't know guys did best friends. Yeah, we do that. But yes.
Must be rage bait, sure.
Nah, I think she's just curious about that. Her voice, her strength. Yes, okay, you're a girl, great. So the idea is meant to be like, as the conversation progresses, you hopefully understand more about the topic, which is like male friendship dynamics, and you can ask any questions you have around, any questions you have around men, like why do men do X? What are male friendships like when it comes to this? Like, okay, I know when it comes to breakup, girls do this and they do that, and they go to each other's houses and cuddle and stuff. Do men spoon and cuddle? The answer is already no to that one. But if you have any questions like that around the general logistics or whatever it is about male friendships, you can feel free to ask that, and I'll try and answer you. Nice, Chris.
I'll say disclaimer. Obviously, we're only speaking from our perspective, right? So there'll be a lot of nuance that we can't factor in. If obviously certain people from completely different like backgrounds to us, like we can't think about things that they would incorporate. So it's just from our perspective, innit?
No. We're the definitive voice of all men on the planet.
All
bro,
right.
thank you for following me. It's been a while. How are you, man? I forgot this guy that plays basketball. I forgot his name. I'm so sorry. I forgot your name, but I know who you are. We actually went to secondary school together. Hope the ball career is still going well, man. Femi, that's you. Yes. How are you, bro? How you been? Long time. Nice. Community. Oh, by the way, guys, thank you. Someone else.
Yeah, the chat is great. I like this.
Chris, thank you for the follow, Chris. Appreciate that. Chris sounds like a guy. So if you eventually want
Can I like the chat?
I think you can like the comments. I think you can like the live. I'm not sure.
I can't like the chat. Yeah.
Anyway, let's get into it. So we're gonna start off with romantic preferences, romantic choices, and again, it's meant to be a three-way conversation. So what I'm gonna try and do is like make it more conversational. So I'm gonna ask, maybe I'll start with Bissy, ask you a question. These are some of my guiding questions on the screen here. But honestly, this is meant to draw insight into, like, again, how we develop these things and the impact friendship plays on these things. So we're talking here about romantic preferences, what you're into, not only physically, that's a bit, what do you call it, superficial, emotionally, all that kind of stuff. But how has your friendship influenced that? For example, do you and your friends have the same types? How's that happened? How's that worked? Etc. etc. Trying to understand essentially the origination of what your type would be in this present time. So if Bissy says his type is X, Y, and Z, how has that evolved? What's been the impact of that evolution, etc., etc. So that being said, I'm going to start with you, Bissy, then try to get an understanding of are the questions for women. No, anyone can ask questions, bro. Bucky, this is an open platform. This is the Paris Commune we're trying to build here. Anyone can say anything. So feel free to ask your questions as well, Bucky, if you have any specific questions for us.
Type in all caps if you want us to know it's you.
Bissy, you already got this marketing thing on lock. I think I have to have you on all my life because I don't even think of anything, saying stuff like that. Anyway, let's start with you, Bissy. What would you describe as, like, in the year of our Lord 2026, is your type right now?
That's a difficult question, because you know what it is, yeah.
Go on, tell me.
Let me know waffle. Let me answer the question first and then start waffling. I'll say, so my type is, emotionally, I want, what it is? I want someone where it's like, I feel comfortable around. I think it's a bit vague, but like it's something that it's vague, but every individual person would know what that feels like. So it's actually low-key not vague. Whereas like, when you're around someone, right? How do you feel? Are you like, do I feel comfortable? Do I feel like a bit on
All right,
edge? Do I feel like I
let
need
me
to
make it
impress
more
the person?
specific
All that
then.
kind of stuff.
I got it. I understand
All
what you're
right,
trying to
cool,
do.
cool, cool.
In terms of let me say, if you had to pick three emotional traits that are the most important for you for your type to have, what would they be? How about that?
Looking makes it even harder. Like
Do you have
removes
do you
emotions
have
is
a
something I've
list? Because
accepted.
I have a list
I've
of like
accepted.
what
I
my
cannot
type is. Like,
understand.
do you have a list
I'll
of
give
what?
me an example. Obviously I know my physicals. I know like my deal breakers, but I don't know. When you say
You haven't
emotional,
got a list of like the things that you prefer. Let's hear the list. Wait. This is not about me, Manuela. We'll get to me in a minute.
I don't. I don't. You know what I mean? I don't keep a list on hand. You know what I mean? I don't like. Yeah, let's see what I like and I go for it. You know what I mean?
Manuela's nosy as hell. Talking about, let's hear the list. Daniel, let me go
You
to
know what I'm
you. I'll
saying?
come back to Bissy in a minute. Do you have a list?
You hear me?
I can hear you. Yep.
Ah, cool.
It's like cap. You know, that's
My
wild.
my sister's in this.
So
Hey,
anyways,
shout out your sister,
so,
bro. What's her name? What's her name, bro?
don't worry about that. I
no,
remember
no, no.
I had a situation one time, Daniel, where my brother told me he was dating this guy's sister, and I know the guy as well, and he knows the guy as well. And I asked my brother like, "Wow, that must be weird. You dating the thing. How does he feel about that?" And my brother said to me, "What does he care? He's not gonna date her," which is true. So what does
I
your sister care? Like, does that matter?
yeah. No, I'm just gonna yeah. But anyways, my type, someone that someone that wants to put in mutual effort. You know,
Mutual effort,
um,
very
yeah,
important.
yeah. Someone that doesn't have like an attract. I don't know if I'm saying the word right. Attractive mindset. Someone that just wants to take. I want someone that wants to also give and put something in the relationship, bring something to the table as well. That's something that's really important to me. I like a woman that can cook as well. I'm a foodie. Food is the way to my heart. Yeah, someone that's kind, generous, doesn't like conflict averse. Um, yeah, that's kind of my type. I'm a
So
simple man. I like to think I'm not asking for too much.
yeah, I don't think you are, mate. Reciprocity is something you mentioned. Someone else, I think Femi also agreed with like reciprocity as well. Is that something that you feel like is lacking nowadays, or is that something that you just feel like what's made it become something you kind of notice to put it in your list?
Um, wait, sorry, I'm just reading the comments. So someone asked, "Can you cook also?"
Nah, bro. Why?
Yeah, can you wait? Can
Imagine
you
having two chefs in one kitchen, bro.
wait? No, can you
Innit?
cook? Can you cook? Wait. It's a fair question though, low key. I can see why someone would
Yeah,
ask
it is. It is.
if you're
Um,
talking about reciprocity.
No, but if you're being realistic, right? If he could cook, then he like somebody else who could cook would not be something he's looking for. You know what I mean? Like if I
Well,
got something, why would I look for someone that does the same thing?
I mean, we mentioned reciprocity though. So if you're gonna reciprocate, like the idea is that if you want someone that can cook, why are you not reciprocate? You just said you like reciprocity.
Yeah,
Why?
but you reciprocate in other ways, right? Reciprocity is an idea. It's not like it's not a linear kind of thing. It's
Okay,
not one for
wait.
one.
Let me let him answer. Let me let him answer before I, stop.
All right, go on, man.
Go on, tell me.
so what do you want me to answer first?
Well, she asked
The
you if you can cook
the
also. Just answer that one first, and then we
oh
can get to me.
um it's a tricky question.
Is it?
I feel like anyone that can read, which obviously I can read, is capable of cooking. So yeah, I can
Oh,
cook.
okay. Fair enough. Fair enough. All right.
Bro, I know
Fair
for a
enough.
fact I can't cook for shit, dog. Like it's just what it is. Like it's not that deep. Like, at the end of the day, I can cook enough to eat. So
Yeah, fair
like
enough.
I'm alive.
All right.
That's when my abilities peak.
Let me try and fully flesh out Daniel's thing first, and then I'll come back to you in a minute.
Yeah, go for it, go for it.
All right. So, Daniel, I was asking about how why you've come to that. Is there a specific thing that you've kind of have you noticed that been lacking or anything like that? Is that why you've kind of put it on your list as a priority? Because usually that's kind of reason why you do that, right? If you're specific about it.
Yeah, for sure. I've been on quite a few dates recently, unfortunately. But
Unfortunately,
yeah, yeah, because it's
What?
time consuming.
it's time. Okay, go on.
Yeah,
Inefficient.
yeah. But yeah, back to the question. Yeah, just honestly, just the women I come across, they don't they want you to put in the effort, and they just turn up. They expect you to do everything, and they do nothing.
Femi's liking the
And
life. I feel like you might have experience
I
with
don't
that.
like that.
Right.
Sorry.
As if someone's liking the live, I think they might have experience with that. They kind of saying preach.
Yeah,
Yeah,
word.
and it's not even. It's interesting though because it's not even with women I date. It's female friends as well, right? You know,
Is it?
they want you to pay for everything, even though they just turn up, and we're just friends as well.
Someone asked,
Yeah,
"Did
so
you ask them
that's
on a
that's
date?"
why. Sorry.
No, sorry, go on, go on. I'll do the questions in a minute. And to get a better structure, just continue. Sorry, that's why.
Yeah, so yeah, it's just that's it. It's just friends as well. Just it just seems like women don't like putting in effort these days. They just
Okay, so,
like
so
to
you
turn up.
mentioned so you mentioned reciprocity. You mentioned, is that the only thing you mentioned? Is that the biggest, that most important thing you'd say to you in like trying to find someone, or looking for someone? Like,
Um,
are there more
I'm
any
not.
specific
I'm not sure
personality
what the most.
things, like, like maybe, like, I don't know, curiosity, generosity, this, that, and the other?
Oh, someone that's smart.
Someone that's smart. Okay.
Yeah, someone that's educated. The basic stuff.
Define
Educated,
effort in a platonic friendship sense.
educated in like a degree sense, or just educated like, what do you mean?
At least college educated,
Okay.
I'd
So
say.
I am asking this
But
because
someone that knows something and they can teach me stuff, and I would also like
okay,
to teach them stuff.
someone you can learn
Yeah.
from.
But
Okay.
also, I like a girl that has her own hobbies as well, so we can like do that together. She can learn my hobbies. I can learn hers.
Okay, makes sense. I do appreciate all the questions in the comments. I will go through them maybe pretty briefly.
There's actually loads. Some of them are jokes. One
Exactly,
said
there's loads which I love, but
somebody said they we want them to carry us on their heads. I was fucking dying. I don't even know who that is.
what's
The
wrong
Brie or
with
something?
doing nothing and
Yeah,
showing up? Okay, I'm just gonna ignore that one. All right.
you get.
Alright, like, you're trying to rage bait me. What I say in my thing? Did you not read that? What did I say here? General rage inducing behavior is not allowed. Okay, so I clocked you. I'm gonna ignore that. Hi Bree,
And it wants
what's up? Are you saying hi to me? Oh, I'm not even trying to rage bait. No, I wasn't saying you. I wasn't saying you, Bree. I think T was the one that said that. It
Yeah, T
wasn't
was rage baiting for sure.
it wasn't Bree that said that. Bree, you're good. You're good. You're good. Anyway, all right. If I go back to you, Bissy, do you have more of an idea? Before I go back to you, Bissy, one second. Just final question for you, Daniel, and I'm gonna expand on this in a minute. It's gonna make sense why I'm asking this in a minute. If you had to put your finger on one, like the most important personality trait, what would you say? Because I say that because the other day I was thinking recently, like everyone has something like they're super good at that everyone notices. Like, oh wow, you're really good at this specific thing. Is there anything like this that's like important to you? Is there any one personality trait that's like significant to you?
One.
Yeah, if you had to pick one, like the most important one. If you don't have, it's fine. But I'm just curious.
I think just one. That's quite difficult. I think there's several that's important.
You've only really mentioned reciprocity. So when you say several, can you give us
No, I mentioned someone that's smart,
someone that's smart,
that can cook.
that can cook? Okay, it's not really a personality trait, but I get it.
Someone.
Are you like
Okay, someone that's
are you
kind,
hungry at home, bro?
generous.
Like
Someone that's
if they
kind,
can't
generous.
cook, you'll be alright.
Just basic stuff.
Daniel just loves food. I feel
Someone,
like
also
Daniel just
someone that's
loves
curious
food.
as well.
Fair
Yeah,
actually.
yeah, I'm a foodie.
Daniel is a
Someone
big
that
fan
likes
of
to
food.
travel.
Femi,
Someone that
Femi,
likes to travel as well.
Femi, I don't want this conversation to
Just
get a bit out
basic
of hand.
stuff.
So I'll bring you up in a minute, but just give me like a few. Let's just go through this first, because if I have three people on here, even having two on here is a bit manic as it is. All right, let me go back to you, Bissy. Do you have more of an idea now after hearing Daniel say it more specifically? Is that making
Yeah,
sense
to
to
be
you?
fair, it's giving me more of like context to follow in. I think for me, I'm an active person, so I'd say being active, either sports wise, gym wise, or something like, because I want to do some shit together. Like I would like to do, say we go on a run, say we go on a hike, say we go to the gym, like stuff like that. That's fun. Somebody that's open to new experiences as well. Because for me, like a typical weekend for mine, if I have nothing going on, I'll just look for something I've never done before and just go do that. You know what I mean? Like that's just how I operate because it's just part of the law. On the personal side of things, I've had experiences with people who are like irrational,
All
right?
right. Okay.
And the thing about being irrational is there's the pretext of them feeling like because they're a woman, it's it's almost like their God-given right to be irrational. Like they don't need to actually be like
When,
to
when you say
consider the
rational, what do
emotions
you
of
mean? 'Cause I'm
men.
sure a lot of girls in the audience are like, "Oh my, can you give us an example idea of what irrationality means in this context?"
Okay, so from my experience, right, it was a case of okay, so this was actually what happened, just so everyone knows. So when I say irrational, I actually do mean
I
irrational.
love
So
sharing
say like
personal experiences. I love it. Please
okay, okay.
continue.
So just so people know, so like I'm not sounding like I'm crazy, but so say somebody was like, okay, cool, you're meant to pick them up at a certain time, right? And I'm late. And but I'm late because XYZ came up, da 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 da. So I told them like, okay, cool, like I'm gonna need an extra 10 minutes, 15 minutes, 20 minutes, like da 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 da, like all this stuff is gonna okay, cool, fine. So you then get there, and then in response to you being late, they now decide to be extra late, right? They're now like, okay, cool, like seeing as you're late, I'm basically gonna do it back to you to see how you feel. So that happens. We now then miss the booking that we were meant to go to, and then I'm getting the stick for it. And I'm like, of course I was late, but if you were on time and I was late, then we'd be fine. But now we're both late, and you're still blaming me because I was the instigator of being late.
Oh, so
I'm
they were doing
like,
like a tit
that's
for
just
tat
not
type
rational
stuff.
thinking. Yeah, exactly. Like that's I think tit for tat is irrational to be fair. Like, but a lot of people are kind of like that. They're like, if they feel like you've done them away, they need to get their lick back.
Someone just said in the chat, "I love doing that."
You see what I'm saying? Wait, who is she? Let's put
That's
her
my
on blast,
sister
bro.
That's his sister. That's Daniel's
as
sister.
well.
That's Daniel's sister.
Come on, Deborah. Why you like this?
That's jokes, man. But you can, so I can see why. I was going to ask you like, how have you developed that? Clearly, I can see why. If there are people out here that say like, this is what they
Oh,
love
I
doing.
see. Man said, Leaf said, why was I late? I am the one with the car. If I am late, then you wait. You know what I mean? Like, let's be real. If you were
Nah,
picking me up, okay, then I hear that. Fair enough.
nah. Do you know? I actually have situations where even with guy friends where like if I'm driving to your house to pick you up, I can be late. But why are you late? All you have to do is wait for me to get there. Like you
That's
have,
what I'm
you
saying.
have nothing else to do. Why are you late? I don't understand. Okay. Anyway, now the way I was gonna go with this is gonna be like to talk through. That's your type right now. And again, you guys haven't given. Maybe I should go. Let me go, and hopefully, can give you guys more of an idea of you've done. You've given an idea generally of like the kind of specific things that people do. That's annoying, but I'm surprised you guys don't do this. But I have a list. So I'm surprised, Daniel. Like you and I are the same age. You haven't got a list of the things you want in a girl,
No.
really?
Why do you think we're still single, mate?
Well, I'm single too, so I don't think the list has helped that much.
Well, then you need to extend your list, my guy.
I got a list in my head.
I thought everyone had a
I
list.
remember. But
Yeah, fair enough. I
It
feel
seems
like
like a lot of the women in here have a list though, because
yeah. Wait,
they
okay,
all
yeah.
believe that we have one. So I assume it means that they have one as
Yeah, let
well.
me
So
ask.
that's why they feel.
Do you guys have a list as well? I think let's ask some of the girls. Can you comment if you have a list? Emmanuel actually had a list.
Yeah.
Chris, what's up, bro? Oh, Chris is a girl. Sorry, I'm sorry about that, Christina. I said Chris, what's up, bro? So someone said not really. It gets up there. Someone said yes, yep. Yeah, it seems like generally speaking, you have a list, and I think I made my list probably around initially. I made my first initial list around. It says no list. They just need to be wealthy.
Fair enough.
hey, Addy, when you say list, you mean written down?
Yeah,
Or
written down.
just
Yeah, in my
in your head?
notes.
Okay.
Yeah, so like in about 2022 or so, I feel like I know. Do I know who T is? I don't think it's who I think it is. No, it's not. Oh, I do know who T is. LOL. You know what? It makes so much sense why she's saying all these things now. I was talking to her like I don't know.
What's on your list, AJ?
T is one of my close
Tell
friends.
us about your list, AJ. That's all I keep saying.
Tell us about your list. I haven't seen it. Okay, all right. I'll go through some of the things on my list. T, you're not serious, man. You're not serious. And so what happened was I made a list around probably 2022 or so because I was actually having like an emotional crisis around what I want or what I think I want. Christina wants to tell us her list. I love that. And so the idea was that when you make a physical list, which again I'm surprised you guys don't have, you can start to like calibrate it for when you meet someone. Like Danny, you mentioned you go on a lot of dates. If you had a more defined list, like I think writing it down can help you crystallize it. Where when you go on a date, you're like, I want this, this, this. If you meet someone that has something that you don't have, that you don't have on your list, you can be like, oh, I never thought that was important to me, but after seeing it in this person, I think I actually really like that. Then you add it to the list. Or you might be like, I actually want someone that was this, but now, in looking at meeting this person that has that, I don't think I love it so much. I said, but you lot are under 30. I wouldn't expect you to be serious. No offense. Okay, offense.
Bro,
All right, Bree.
What do you
You're
mean?
hard.
What do you mean? No offense. Much offense. But we're serious, guys. No, I'm just joking. I don't think we take offense. But
I hope to be married before 30 though, like 100%. To be honest,
okay,
like
fair
30 is
enough.
kind of wild.
All right, so let me go through some of the things on my list, which I haven't updated for a while because I think I'm happy where it is now. Now, some of them are more nice to haves. Actually, not really. I'm 28. A lot of them are kind of, I'd love for them to have that. But basically, you have a question for you. I'll go through this. You can answer that question in a minute. Basically, let me just go through this list first. So I've got on here thoughtfulness, intelligence. I don't know why I've written it as like, verbs. I'm not sure exactly why I've done that. Communicator, caring, great cook, ambitious, hardworking. I'm gonna skip the physical one for now. Just I don't want to cause any trouble.
Yeah,
Have their
teasing.
own car, has their own place. All those things. If you're someone in the chat that has all those things, follow me. I'm
Look,
joking. I'm
AJ
joking.
is
I'm
talking right now. Like
joking.
I'll get around to it.
I'm joking. I must say don't skip the physical. You don't drive. I'm sorry. Like that's not gonna work. If you has your own car, what do you mean in this economy? I have my own car, I have my own place. What do you mean in this economy? I don't mean like
I'm
you
saying?
own your home, by the way. I don't mean you own your home. I just mean like
You have somewhere to
I
lay
live in
your
a house
head.
share as well. Exactly. You have somewhere that's not home. We're not gonna be doing all that hotel stuff, okay? You know what I'm talking about. The people that know. We don't play that.
I feel like girls rarely drive.
Yeah.
I feel like you're really.
The roads aren't built for them. I'll be real though.
Yeah, I feel like you're quite-
No, but like,
What do you mean by
but I'm on no. I'm being dead serious. Like on mass, like driving is actually very stressful. You know what I mean? So like, I wouldn't want like my girl to be stressed out on a daily basis. So like, if she couldn't drive,
Oh,
like that's okay.
bro, trying to reframe it from a sexist comment to like a caring.
Fam.
I know your game, bro.
Okay.
I know your game.
I'm just saying that.
Pro said he's caring.
Because I think if you are a person who has road rage in general, you should not be driving regardless of gender. Because I've seen so many people, and funny enough, is a lot of my female friends, they get really angry while they drive because it's stressful.
I get.
And I
loads
think
of-
if
I
you
get
rage,
loads of
then you
rage
should
rage. I get loads of road rage.
then
Let me
then you shouldn't be driving, my
let
guy.
me go through these comments. Debbie said it's unreasonable. What's unreasonable about all of that, Debbie? I don't understand. Don't you want a guy that has all those things? I feel like that's what Daniel mentioned earlier about reciprocity. Like a woman will easily tell you all those things she wants in a guy, but if you ask the same for a girl, they start saying, "Oh my god, why are you asking for so much?" I feel like I basically want the female version of myself. Every time I come on here, I always end up talking about my type, which I really want to avoid doing. Emma said, "I'm crying because I know there's more on AJ's list that he's not saying." This is not about me. This is about my friends.
Yeah, this is inside information.
This is about my friends. This is not about me, guys. I'm just a host.
But let me jump in here then.
I go on.
But let me jump in here. Somebody asked me like, oh, why? Like a couple of people asked me why I wanted to be married before 30.
Please answer.
I just didn't think that needed any explanation because obviously it's like 30 years old is at a point where it's like you enter a new chapter of your life and everything like that is fine. But I think the problem is the older you get, no shade to like any of you man that are a bit older than me, but the older you get, the more narrow your ability to compromise is. You start to you live by yourself for longer and longer and longer. You're used to how doing things your way and all that kind of stuff. So like I still feel like now at 26 I'm flexible, I can understand people and I'm like open. But at 30, like because of where I believe I would be like in terms of my career and what I'm doing, I'll be so locked in on like I need everything to fit around me and like it just becomes the me show, rather than like an actual relationship between two people, like evenly kind of thing. So I do believe the older you get, the harder it is to like to get an equal partner in a relationship.
Wait. So you're saying like you want to meet someone now because you're in like growth phase and you want to kind of do that with them, as opposed to like when you get solidified and you get more like calcified in your views and stuff, where it's difficult to compromise them. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, more or less. Because I think because this is a big one, right? So I think it then changes the profile of the kind of person that you're even willing to date. Because if you now become solidified in like what you do and how your vision is, because I believe I'm going to be successful by 30, so like I'm going to have a lot of things going on. It then can switch to me not needing somebody to be like on the same footing as a power couple. You can then switch to being like picking somebody who's like a homemaker rather than a power couple. Because obviously, if you got the finances covered and everything, then you don't need somebody earning the same or anywhere close to you. You just need somebody that like kind of can be your rock per se, like at home. It just changes, like all those, like the dynamic of your relationship can change,
Oh,
can be a lot different at 30 compared to like 20, 25, 26.
wait, that's interesting because I feel like most men, especially most men your age or even younger, the general consensus has kind of been like, like do your stuff, get to where you need to get to, then find a woman to kind of bring into it. So it's interesting that you kind of see it the other way. I feel like that's quite unique, probably. Like I feel like most men, unwittingly or wittingly, have that kind of idea of like, let me get all these stuff sorted first. And I've actually mentioned this on previous conversations before, where a lot of guys talk about how, oh, when I'm making this much money, when I have this, when I have that, the kind of girl I can get is going to be so amazing. Whereas as I'm growing now, there's still growth to do. And so I acknowledge that because I'm not where I want to be, quote unquote. I'm not going to be able to get that girl. So why do you think, is that something you've consciously developed recently that you've reflected on and kind of realized? Or like, did you ever have that kind of feeling of like, I'm still grinding right now, I'm not where I want to be, therefore I don't want to introduce a girl to this kind of growth phase?
No, but like, so this, what you're saying now, I understand it once you're forced to be in that frame of mind. But I think it's just negative mental framing because again, like the journey and the grind is the best part, is like, where you start to believe in yourself, is where it's like all of this stuff, you don't know where it's going, but it's like, it can end up being something like great, right? Once you've already got everything you want, once you've already got to that like level, then you start to look at people differently. Like, I'll be real, I'm not an elitist, but I do believe that there's some of us and then there's others. You know what I mean? Like, it's not, you start to behave like that, you start to believe like that, and then when you start going into moving into different social circles, you then just have this whole thing of, okay, you want this babe, right? Once you get to a certain like socio-economic standing, but that person, you need to understand them fully. If they've always lived in that zone or that like echelon that you've just come into, you now have a whole different set of problems that you wouldn't even realize. Because I have like friends in so many different groups in life, and I realized that like you need to pick someone or pick a group of people that identify with who you are, not necessarily just where you're going. Because when you get there, where you've just come to is who they already are. So it's okay. Let me just actually give an example, so it makes it like I'm not just like waffling with like fucking hyperbole, right? So as an example is, so say like now I used to go to the polo club, right? And I used to go there and I used to meet people that are like they're millionaires. Like I know that my friend knows the guy who actually owns the club that we were playing at, right? So like big money. So you meet all these girls, like they look really nice, they dress nice, they wear the best things, da 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 da. You talk to them, they're pretty fun, everything like that. But then it gets to a point where you realize that, oh, like all the kind of little jokes, all the quirks, all the nuances of like your personality and like where you've come from and your background don't really fly. Like it's just kind of like, oh, so say something like, oh, I remember when back when like way back. I remember, when you had to like top up the electricity and stuff like that, like in your house with a little card and stuff. Like when I was like 8, 9, 10. If I was to bring up something like that, they're just looking at me like, what? You know what I mean? And then you start to then bury parts of your personality that actually are true to you but like not true to them, to kind of blend it in so you seem like you've always been there rather than you just got there. I don't know if anybody in the chat has actually had an experience where they've gone to
you're
a
saying when
different
you've gone to
social
like
setting.
something like the polo club and all these guys grew up
Yeah.
really rich, you feel the need to
Yeah.
kind of you feel self-conscious about the fact that you grew up differently to them now. Is that what you're saying?
So I don't feel like that as much anymore because obviously like now I understand that everyone's different. But back then, yeah, it was a case of like it would almost be like you're trying to appease them. You're trying to like appear like you're on their level because again, I am in their space.
Right. So how does that translate to like
You know what I mean?
the central point of like you feel like you want someone now while you're growing as opposed to when you've already grown?
Because I feel like I want somebody that like from now going forward, I can talk about all the little things, all the nuances, all the things that like I care about, or all the things that make sense to me. I feel like because the way I see it, once you then move into like different social settings and once you move up the ladder, like the people you meet there en masse are different from you, where you are and where you've come from. So that's why it's not necessarily like, oh, you move up the ladder and you can't like talk to people about different things. It's just the girls or well, I guess girls to be honest, but the girls you're going to meet will come from completely different backgrounds that like you don't understand. So it becomes a lot harder to just naturally be yourself and be comfortable.
Okay, Daniel, do you share this experience? Do you agree, disagree? And sorry, Chris, I know you asked to comment. I will bring you guys on in a minute, but there's already three of us on here, and I want to make sure like it's a very difficult thing to do to try and keep structure to a conversation like this because it's quite free flowing. So the more people I add, the more X factors in the conversation. So I am conscious, like I would love to have you guys on shortly, but I need to have a think about how to make that and ensure that we maintain a structure. The idea to have girls come on as guests is to hopefully have you guys ask questions that you've always been curious about, like why do men do X, or what's the male perspective on X, Y, and Z. Like Bissy's expressing his views about how he sees him meeting his partner and how that's going. I'm sure that's different to the way a lot of you girls view it, or you specifically that wants to come up. So those are the kind of things I'd want you to be able to ask and be like, okay, now that's interesting because I've always wanted to meet someone since I was 10 years old and blah blah blah, and why is it that you want to do X? That's the idea. So just when you want to come on, do have that in mind. Like we're not, you're not coming on to like, I'm not saying you specifically, but you're not coming to argue with anyone and stuff like that. I do want it to continue remaining insightful. And again, I also just don't want it to be like a conversation that just goes all over the place, because the aim of what I do every week is to like, I want you guys to leave feeling like, you had some insight into whatever the topic is that you wouldn't have otherwise had. And I feel like we're on a good place to doing that right now. So keep that in mind and
Yeah.
keep your
Wait, can I answer
enthusiasm.
just one question? Because like can I answer one question? I keep getting the whole thing of how does everything I say relate to me wanting to marry somebody before 30?
Okay.
So my answer directly to that is, as I am now, I'm a lot more open and flexible. I know by the time I get to 30, all the things it will take me to get to the level I believe I'll be at 30 is going to make me a lot more rigid. So somebody's mentioning about like, oh, you're just going to hide things from your partner because it's not your past life. People do that. That's what's going to happen. You understand? Like, let's be realistic. Once you get to a certain level, some of the things that you've done before, some of the experiences you had before, you just sweep them under the rug and they disappear. I want to be now. I feel like I'm authentically who I am before, like I guess the great lock in. You know what I mean? And then everything changes. So it's like I would rather meet somebody now. So obviously you have to date for a few years. Da 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 da. So if I was to meet someone now, 27, then we would be looking to get married around like 28, 29 anyway. So it's like, but if I meet someone at 30, then it'll be like, I'll be marrying around 31, 32. So it's like, I'd rather do it now while I'm still a lot more flexible, I guess, than doing it later when it's like, okay, well, no, you need to do the, you like, it just becomes a lot more rigid. It's harder.
All right. Before you answer any further questions on that, Daniel, do you want to weigh in here? Do you agree with? I mean, you're not at the same age, so I think our clock is ticking in terms of Bissy's rule. But what's your perspective on the ideal time to meet someone? Are you someone that believes you're going to be more rigid later on? Have you adapted? Have you become more flexible as you get older? Again, we're not that old, but you get the idea. Hello, is Daniel
Yeah,
there?
coffee break.
Sorry, what was the question?
Bro, pay attention. Can you hear me?
No, I got a call.
Oh, you got cool. Oh, please
Yeah,
get
yeah,
married
yeah.
soon, Daniel. I'm bored. I said to Bissy was mentioning how
Nah,
he wants to meet someone before he's 30, right? So he can like because he feels like he's more flexible now, and by the time he gets to 30, he's gonna be more rigid in what he thinks and what he wants and all that kind of stuff. So he wants to do it kind of like sooner rather than later. So before he gets a bit calcified in what he believes in. So I was gonna ask you like, do you share the same sentiments? Have you and I are the same age, like we're both 28. So is there something have
mm.
you become more flexible, now compared to when you were younger? Have you become less flexible? What's your kind of approach?
Yeah, yeah. When I was younger, I did actually say that. I'd love to be married before 30. That's kind of the aim. But obviously now I'm 28, and it's not looking like it's gonna happen. I think um, now I'm not. I'm not that fussed. If it's 32, 33, is what it is. I think it's important not to rush. I do think maybe it's the most important decision you make, the person you marry
Good
in your
point.
life. It's best not to rush it. Put a deadline on it. I think it's best to just do it when you're ready. You find the right person. If that's 45, then so be it. It is what it is. But I think it's just important to be ready and
It's the
pick the right person.
T said it's the only family you get to choose. That's a very good point. Yeah,
Mm,
that's a very good point. And I think I share your sentiments, Danny.
yeah,
Maybe it's because I don't know, we're all the same age, but I've always said, like, especially
yeah,
recently anyway, I am quite ready to do it, but at the same time, what we see is like, what's the rate of marriages that end in divorce now? Is it 50%? Is it higher than that? So, I
That's the
think,
number that goes around.
yeah, that's the number that goes around exactly. So over half. So I think if you rush it, you're gonna be back here with the rest of us. Like, just wait, your time
Yeah.
will come. You know. So you might as
Yeah.
well take your time because, like you said, like there's really no rush to it. Like you can't rush greatness. People meet
Okay,
their.
wait. Can sorry. Now, Karen.
No, I was gonna say people meet the love of their lives. Some people have a marriage, get divorced, then they meet the person that they're like, oh my god, where was this person the whole time? In as much as it's not exact science, right? You can take your time and it still kind of flops. But I mentioned my list earlier, and people talk about how obviously people were joking about how I didn't say all the things that was on the list, lol. But the other aspect to that is that sometimes I've thought like, am I being quite rigid in having like a physical list that I'm like, even stuff as minor as like, oh, you don't drive or whatever. That's like, oh, you can really chill on that. I could, but I'm only 28 is how I see it. Why should I? What's the rush? Because if those things are actually going to make me happier and lead to a better relationship and I actually want them, why should I compromise on that? Because, oh, I'm getting to an age where people want to get married. Oh, T says she has a good point when it comes to lists. Do you wanna tell us, T? You wanna share it with us? You kind of said that all suspiciously. Sorry, Bissy, you had a question or something?
Yeah, no, so I had an interjection, right? Because this is kind of how I see things. If, say, like you're given a project and you're given 2 years to deliver the project, you're more than likely going to deliver that project towards the end of the 2 years rather than as soon as physically possible, right? Not necessarily saying that you're going to rush it in terms of you're not going to like be a bit too lenient on your deal breakers and stuff like that. But I think if you're intentional in what you want to do and you want to do it sooner rather than later, then like you start to filter out a lot of the noise quicker rather than just allowing yourself to just keep floating about doing situationships, all that kind of stuff. If you're more intentional, you're just more direct, and if you're more direct, it happens quicker.
Yeah, but I don't think that's a like. Okay, so are you saying
Yeah,
basically like because
and
you're
yeah,
setting
sorry,
the
Brie, my
goal?
parents are married. Yeah,
So are you saying like because you're
no, carry on.
setting
I'll
the
just respond to his
no,
comments.
no, it's fine, it's fine. So are you saying because you're setting the goal, it makes you more ambitious and targeted in terms of getting it done? Basically, is that what you mean?
Yeah, like in my mind, I don't see a need. Well, not a need, but I don't see a reality where it's like getting married like 32, 33, 34. Like I don't see why it would take that long. Like think about it. I'm 26 now. Somebody asked earlier, how old are we? I'm 26, right? I don't see how it will take me 4 years from this point to find a
Ha
partner.
ha!
When I
Famous,
do,
famous last
wait.
words.
Let me land.
Go on.
Yeah.
Let me land. When I do believe like having a partner is a very, very fundamental thing in having like a really healthy like life going forward. My parents were married from like the ages of I think 27 and 24. Because there's like a bit of a 3 year age gap, right? So they were married from like way younger. And so obviously in the back of my mind, I'm like, okay, well, that makes sense. And I've seen how like their marriage has lasted like 30 plus years. So it's just like I'm almost replicating, or I want to replicate what I think makes sense because that's what I was exposed to.
Fair enough. I can see how that motivation can be, you know, useful. But one thing I will say on that is like, again, I'm not even that old. But when you say like, oh, I don't see a world in which it takes you that long. Oh, the
Taxi,
universe will surprise
taxi
you.
theory is real. I do, V. I
Yeah,
believe that taxi theory is real.
Time flies.
Time goes extremely quick. I
Zoe,
was
in Jesus' name,
I was saying
Amen.
I was saying to someone the other, I was saying like 2 live streams ago how I meet my ideal type like once every 3 months. That's not meet them to date them, by the way. That's just like you see them, you have a conversation with them. You can still chat to them, then it doesn't go very well, or they actually just you're not their type or whatever like that. That's once every 3 months, just to give you a rough idea. Last week I was 15, now I'm 30. Exactly. That's how that's how quick it goes. So I do see your point as in like, and again, to be fair, that's something I thought about like to the extent that you want to be intentional. I guess setting time. If you want to think about smart targets, we're all going back to work tomorrow, I guess. So let's start introducing the work lingo. Are your
Oh,
targets
that
set
actually makes
goals?
so much more sense. Like why Brie was like getting on to me about I said before 30 because she's 30. Fair enough. Brie,
LOL.
there's someone out there for you, man.
Did you just
Just keep your head up.
why you say fuck brief for? Like, what the hell? Like,
Nah, I'm pro Brie, man.
no, I'm just joking. All right. Now, what I wanted to get to is like the idea that kind of type. Oh, by the way, before I get to that, guys, we've been going for about 54 minutes now. We have 30 people in here, which is great, but we only have 1.8k likes on the live. I don't mean to beg or anything, but guys, it does help me to
You like
grow
that shit, dog.
and develop. So tap the screen, please. Let's help me grow and develop so we can have more interesting conversations like this. Motivate me. Give me some ginger, some energy. Yes, I appreciate
Wait,
that,
so
guys.
is it like you can just keep spamming likes
Yeah,
on
yeah,
the live and then it
yeah,
increases how many likes? All
yeah.
right.
Because usually
Yeah,
people,
it's
people
easy, y'all. Just tap the screen.
yeah,
It's easy.
because people usually do it to like, basically if they're appreciating what you're saying. So I think the more you do that, TikTok is like, oh, people are really liking what these niggas are saying. Let's get more people in here.
What's
Because
what's the target? What do we tell people we need our likes to be at?
I mean, there's no target really, as much as you can. I think I've got
What?
10k before, 10k likes before, so that's very doable.
Okay, we have 30 people. All of you, lot. If we don't get to 10K, you're not
Uh,
allowed on the next live. Okay.
we'll do that. We'll do that by the time we get. No, don't listen to him, guys. We'll do that. But this is such a youth. We'll do that by the time we get, like, the conversation's gonna go on for a while still, so we will get there. But yes, support, like, follow me as well. I think I've got some followers on this as well. Like, let's keep all that going so we can grow it. Yes, thank you, Her Voice of Strength, for liking. Someone said,
Like, comment,
AJ,
subscribe.
See,
like
we're already at 3.2.
the
You guys,
trifecta,
listen to me.
super
All
fan
of you
status,
like
swear.
it on your
I
phone.
love
If
that.
you're not liking the live, you can drop. I beg.
No, 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 no! Don't say that, bro. Stop threatening people. What the hell? This guy's so Nigerian.
Nah, I'm motivating them. You know what I mean? You need inspiration.
Okay, someone said, AJ, yes, and your character changes, but oh, I am taking opinions of women. Yes, yes, yes. T, I mentioned that earlier. Like, I do want women to come up and ask us questions directly. I was saying, like, I want that to happen in a minute. So if you want to come up, wait, sorry, I think Chris wanted to come up earlier. T, do you want to come up as well? Let me get a view of who wants to come up. So I can think about how to bring you. Again, I was saying earlier, like, I want people to come up, but it's very important that I maintain an element of structure. That's a tough thing to do when you have the more people you have on stage. The conversation starts to go everywhere. People are interrupting each other. It can be a bit more difficult. So I do want people to come up, but I will just try and manage carefully how I do that, because I want it to be like, again, you're asking questions that is insightful and is. Yeah, I'm not saying you're not going to ask questions that are not insightful. The point is that we want to move the conversation along. I don't want it to get to a point where people come up and 15 minutes later we're talking like we're on Twitter. I'm not saying that would happen. I'm not saying that's going to be your choice or what you're going to do, but that can happen when you have a few people and different people have different places they want to pull the conversation to. So it's important that I kind of set the parameters of where we're going with this. As a reminder, the aim of this is to try and understand, the reason why I asked the ideal type question, which we're still doing right now, is like, I wanted to get a sense of how that evolves over time, and especially the impact of friendships on those types. So we've all described our types here, and they actually sound quite different in terms of what we think is important and stuff like that. And we're all best friends. We're not all best friends together. Like, I'm best friends with Bissy and Daniel separately. Daniel and Bissy know each other, but I wanted to kind of get a view on like how your friendships influence and kind of affect that. And then the idea could be like, the girls come on and be like, oh, that's interesting. I didn't know it was like that, and then ask specific questions around, what they might have. So maybe, I don't want to make it like what do you call it, the receipts that does the dilemmas or something. But maybe you have a guy that you're chatting to right now and he's behaving strange or whatever, and you're like, why are men like X, Y, and Z? We're not going to go into your specific situation, but we can give you an insight into like, this is how men think in this way, and talk about our personal experiences, that kind of thing. So I am gonna, now I've mentioned that, I am gonna lead into that, and ask you guys. Maybe I'll start with you, Daniel, in this case. In terms of like your current romantic setting, obviously you've mentioned that you're like, I guess you'd say you're looking to meet someone seriously now, that kind of thing.
I'm going to take a break from that, but yeah, okay, yeah, sure.
You want to take a break?
Yeah, from like dating and stuff and focus on myself. But yeah, let's just say, yeah, that's what I would like to do. Yeah.
Zoe asked, I'd like to know how you'll approach girls you're interested in. I promise you, Zoe, we're literally going to talk about that, because I do plan to keep it more entertaining. So I was going to do like a question like that as well. Or maybe actually we can do that now that Zoe's asked that question. Thank you, Zoe, for asking that. And thank you, V, for sharing the live as well. That's a good segue into the kind of next area, which is on the last thing I asked. So Daniel, let's start with you then.
By the way, Ade, someone commented earlier that so looks doesn't matter, and yeah, none of us mentioned looks in regards to our type.
No, but Ade specifically mentioned that we're not looking at the physical.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
exactly.
Okay,
I tried to make it like looks do matter to me. Okay,
first.
like a lot, but again, I feel like if we just start talking about looks and how much this she has and the thighs and all that stuff, it's gonna get a bit farcical, and I don't want it to be like that. I want it to be genuinely insightful. So that's why I kind of said let's avoid that and let's talk about looks should matter to everyone. All right.
Okay, cool.
So
cool.
Zoe asked the question around how do you approach girls you're interested in. So I'm gonna start with you, Daniel. That's a very general question, but maybe I should ask you a more specific question on like right now, what's your overall dating strategy? Is it more on dating apps? Is it more in person? Combination of the two?
Yeah, I think it's a mixture of everything. I don't isolate one method, but mainly I meet girls on online dating.
Online
But like
dating.
apps like yeah, some apps like Breeze and Hinge are the ones I'm gonna go for. But if I see a pretty girl in person and I'm feeling confident that day, then I would approach her.
Oh, okay. And when you see a girl, I'm asking this question also for myself in a way, but I feel like a lot of girls will want to know this. Do you decide right away like this is a girl that I think about in a potentially serious way, or I'm just trying to see what she's on, the kind of thing, more casual way, or do you not make that decision when you're approaching? Like, what's the thought process behind you see a girl you're interested in and you want to approach? How exactly are you putting her in a bucket straight away or not really?
I think that's an interesting question. I think I would have to talk to her first to see if she's my type personality wise.
Oh, okay.
Where she fits in personality wise.
So do you put
If
girls?
she's
Go on.
if she ticks all the boxes personality wise, then that would be something that I would like to, you know, be serious with.
So you
If
don't.
she's more like
Go on.
fun,
He's more fun. Okay. Okay.
maybe not.
So you don't put girls in a physical box, as in like this girl is again sounds crude, but this girl is like hot enough to be someone I date, or she's not. You don't do that.
Nah, for me personally, looks ain't a big deal for me.
Okay. All right.
I think I've put myself over the last couple of years.
You what?
I've humbled myself over the past couple of years, and
What
yeah,
does that?
looks is not
What does that
something
mean?
else.
You've humbled yourself. Hello. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I don't know how to answer that one, but yeah, next question.
Fairs.
All right. Same question to you then, Bissy. Do you put girls in that category when you meet them, or do you kind of see how it develops first?
Well, obviously you speak to them, and then from like at the beginning of the conversation, you categorize them, right? Like again, if I was speaking to somebody who was like mildly attractive and they're not really like it, then it's like obviously I wouldn't necessarily be looking to take you that seriously. Um, but it just depends because obviously you have some girls that's like you talk to them and you can say have a situationship or like something a bit fun, and then obviously there'll be some people that's like okay, cool, like this is a serious person. They take enough of my boxes, so like I'm going to exclude them from like the bullshit category and like look to actually develop something worthwhile.
So your answer is yes. Then you do put them in the category when you meet them.
I mean, yeah, of course.
Ah, okay, interesting. No, 'cause, I guess some people have a different approach. Like Daniel. Then why speak to someone you're only mildly attracted to? Someone says. All right. So now in that
I mean,
situation where, go on, go on. I'll let you respond to that.
no, go for it. You're the host, mate.
Well, I was going to ask you a follow up questions. Someone said, "Ugh, too many comments. Ugh, everything's going so fast." So I think my follow up question is going to be like, depending on the box you then put them in, does that influence exactly how you approach? Because you mentioned now like you put them in a box based on looks and maybe what you can see, right? Do you then moderate your approach based on that or not really?
To answer your question and then the other question as well about like, oh, why would I be speaking to somebody that I'm mildly attracted to? It's a case of obviously it's like people also come to talk to me. People also come and like they want to get to know me. Da, 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 da. You know what I mean? It's not only men that are the one chasing. There are a lot of women who are like, oh, they see what they like and then they go for it. You know, which would be me in this context. And those are the ones where I'm like, okay, well, I'll still talk to you because obviously it's like we could end up being good friends. There could be a lot to you that I don't know. So that's why it's like if I'm talking to somebody that I'm not really that attracted to, like that would be the context in which like it's kind of occurred. Obviously, even in like a work setting, friend settings, automotive, you talk to a lot of people, not everybody, but like a lot of people, right?
Right.
What was your question again?
the question was going to be like, how do you moderate the approach based on if you've put them in a category of, I guess your categories are like serious and unserious, right? Yeah, Daniel can join on
Yo,
camera.
Dan, how'd you turn on your camera?
That's crazy.
Yo, you guys breaking boundaries.
No, that's jokes. Busy and I had a funny
Yeah,
situation.
you just click on yourself.
No, Busy and I had a funny situation earlier because
I can't.
TikTok told him like he needed 50 followers to go to be able to go live. So we thought that's when we need to turn his camera on. So we literally spent an hour message. He was spamming people, asking him to follow him, etc. etc.
Harassing. I was harassing people,
He
bro.
clicked on it. They were like, "Yeah, sorry." it was a troll. They trolled
Shout
him.
out to everyone that's been here that supported me, man.
They trolled him. Oh, T says she consults God. Okay, so Danny, you have a different approach to BC. So BC actually mentioned, Danny, if you missed it, that he actually puts people in categories pretty as soon as he sees them. He kind of puts them in categories, of like, which is kind of based on attractiveness. It sounds like. So it sounds like you don't do that. In terms of the way you then approach, do you have like a line you try to use a line trying to be funny, or do you just kind of keep it more casual, serious, just get in there, say whatever? Sounds like you're laughing. It sounds like you have something you want to tell us.
I think I'm more serious. Just hey, what's your name?
Hey, what's your name?
Pretty, just compliment.
Can the girls in the chat comment?
No,
Would that work on you? No,
not in that order, but
let's fight.
not in that order. But I would ask their name. I'll compliment them, and eventually ask for their contact details. I'll mention that. Oh, you're just my type. This one I'm looking for.
You're just my type.
And yeah. Last time I approached the girl, that's what I said. I was like,
did it
you're
work?
just my type. Yeah. She gave me the details.
Oh, Molotov. I hope you're taking notes. One of my guys asked earlier about how he said dating apps are not really doing it for him. He's curious as to where guys approach women. All right, interesting.
On the streets.
Can I answer this one? Yeah.
Yeah, go on, please.
My question: whoever asked, like, where do you approach women in real life? How often are you going out to things that matter to you? Are you in the spaces that you want to be in? Because again, people are everywhere. If you're not in the space that like, I like this thing, so I'm interested in people who also like this thing, right? Then it's like it's easier to speak to them. Say you go to an event of like a popular artist or of a, even if you're into baking or whatever, you go to like a baking contest show, whatever, just something different. When you meet the people there, it's like, okay, they like what I'm interested in, so I will speak to these people. So it's like, it's not just meeting somebody in the aisle of Tesco and like trying to chat them up. You know what I mean? It doesn't make sense. Or even just going to a club. It's more like how much time are you spending doing the things you want to, and then when you're doing that, who is around you?
Very, very good advice. Now let's introduce the friendship element to this, because again, I'm friends with both of you, but separately. So start with you, Danny. If I was to say to you, like, how do you think, I guess, our friendship, you and I are friends, has had an impact on like that kind of romantic perspective? I know that's a lot, because you can talk about like whether or not when you're ready to settle down, ready, like your type. Let's start with your type. Do you think there's been like an impact of your friendships on that? Like, have you kind of drifted more to your friends' types? You guys have different, like your friend, again, you and I are friends, so you can just use our example, but.
No, I'm not sure on that. I remember you remember too. There was a time it wasn't.
I can't hear you properly. You keep coming out in and out of the audio thing. It's not very clear. Testing.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Yeah.
Maybe I'll if it carries on, I'll turn my camera.
No, it's not. I don't think it's the connection. I think it's more like the receiving of the audio.
Man saying bros underwater.
Anyway, just
shout out to the guys in the chat though. By the way, you man are cracking me up.
No, put the camera back on. Oh yeah, I can actually. I think it is better now. Actually, not gonna lie. The camera was great. It was nice to kind of have a face to the name. But
yeah, maybe it's the camera.
Maybe it is actually, because it is better now. So continue.
Yeah. So sorry. Remember the question again, please.
So the question was
how
like,
you
your friends? Yeah, have I
Right.
influenced you in any way, or in terms of like your type, what you're into, or not really?
I don't think so. But it could be possible. Like you remember time, and I remember time when I wasn't. How do I word this in a politically correct way?
Careful.
I wasn't the biggest fan. I wasn't the biggest fan of our sisters.
Right.
Oh, man's going down that route.
Yeah, but I know you always been a big fan of them. So, but now I am. Last couple of years, I don't know if you've influenced me on that. I'd like to think not. I don't think so, but I don't know. I don't think you've influenced me too much, but I don't know.
Interesting. Someone said, "Oh God." Joshua said, "Oh God."
Yeah.
All right, all right. So you don't think there's been any real influence? I feel like, full disclosure, I don't think Daniel and I really actually have the same type. Um,
Mhm.
I think everyone can. They girls that are like universally attractive or whatever, right? But generally speaking,
Yeah, that's
I
true.
feel like
Zoe's trying to get us cancelled. Zoe,
yeah.
we were on to you.
What does Zoe say?
Yeah,
Someone said, "I don't think you can change being an ex-milkman." Guys, we're not gonna go down that path. We're not gonna go down
no.
that
Well,
path.
so now, when it comes to women, I don't like discriminate.
I do.
When it
So
comes to like race, I'm fully open.
you're fairly open. And is that is
Yeah,
that is
yeah.
that based on
Black, white,
past experience? Obviously, if you say you're not being
Chinese,
open in the
yellow.
past, is that based on past experience? That's just more of a general thing. Because I am curious to understand, like, I guess friendship, yes, one aspect of influence, but it's more generally like how those things have evolved over time. Over time, Joyce is a journey. Good point. It is a journey.
So you want to know why it's changed, basically?
Yeah, why it's changed? Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's because when I was younger, our sisters didn't treat me well. I remember when I was in secondary school being bullied by, our
My
sisters.
babes.
Yeah. When I was in secondary school, I remember being
Bruh.
bullied by my sisters.
All right.
They gave me a tough time. I'm telling you, but
Yes.
only in the last like 3-4 years, our sisters have been, a bit more kind and gentle towards myself. I can only speak about myself, but as I said, I've had some tough times from our sisters. I remember one time I was in secondary school and I accidentally sat in this girl's seat. Her name was Teo, Temi Teo, and she slapped the back of my head. Wow.
I say wow, like that makes it sound
I
funny.
swear, nah,
The wow just
tears,
makes it sound
tears
so.
came out my eye.
I shouldn't be
Tears
laughing,
were coming
but the
out my
wow
eyes.
just makes it sound so
Oh,
funny.
so she whooped your shit proper.
No, I'm telling you, it was serious.
And what did you
Just,
do? What did you do?
bro, I was almost crying.
No, but what did you do though? Like, surely you didn't let that shit slide.
No, I did.
You did?
Yeah, I remember I just put my head down and
Oh no.
yeah, it was tough, man.
Nah,
But as I
Daniel
said,
now 28, and this is 26.
yeah. But yeah, as I said, in the last, 4 years, our sisters have been more, kind to me. So I appreciate the turnaround from our sisters.
I don't know. I shouldn't be laughing, but the wow you said, it sounded like you're narrating someone's story, even though it's your story. It's like wow.
No, it was serious. There's some things you don't forget. Even that feeling you don't forget.
Yeah, no, that's
That
what you
that was,
mean.
that was tough, man.
I see
And it
what
was
you
from
mean.
behind as well. She backstabbed me. Backstabbed me. Shook my head. Shook my head.
Oh, why am I
Woo!
laughing? I shouldn't be laughing. Like, I guess this is literally what guys be talking about. Because Daniel and I, like, full disclosure, we've had loads of conversations about this. And I remember there would be times where I'd go on dates, or he'd go on dates, and literally the first thing we talk so much, we talk all the time. We've been talking every day for like more or less the past 10 years. It's like
Yeah.
2015 or so. We talk all the time, and he'll send me a voice and I'll be like, "You won't believe what this girl, this girl just did." And a lot of those things, I feel like they do kind of. I know you said like it doesn't affect you as much, but I feel like they do kind of shape, in the sense of if you get positive or negative reinforcement for something, right? Like that can slowly over time start to chip away. Because you and I have conversations all the time where I'm like, bro, what are you talking about? Like, this is where it's at, etc., etc. And I think over time you start to be like, you know what? And again, obviously with age as well, these things kind of change. So thanks for sharing, Daniel. Thanks for sharing. Bissy, same question to you. How do you feel like? Do you feel like your type has been influenced at all by your friendships? Not really. How do you think you develop that?
would say the short answer to that is definitely yes.
Okay.
Because depending on the friends that you have, it depends on the environments that you're in. Because obviously every individual person has like their own little sphere of either London or the entire like world where they're from. Because I have a lot of friends international, like Dubai, New York, Brazil, stuff like that. So I go visit them, I go hang with them. So it just like it impacts the amount of people and like that I meet, and then as a result that kind of impacts my criteria, because it's like you can think, so say like you've never left London, or like the people that actually take pride in never leaving London, which is crazy, but say like you're from there, right? So your idea of a perfect, or not perfect, or your idea of a woman could be somebody who has a lot of these London characteristics and traits because you don't know anything else. But if you're like me and I've traveled the world, I've been to like so many different countries, it's like you start to understand, oh, there's so much more that is available. There's so much more that is like real, right? So even when you come back to the UK, you can start looking for all those traits in the people that you have around. So the reason I'll say my friends impact that is because I've been with a lot of my friends to different countries, to different events, to different environments, and so like through them I've met different people that then impact like what I then think, you know what, I like this, I want this for myself, you know.
Right. Fair enough. That's a good point. I should mention. I should mention this at the start. These are two of my best friends, but also the aim of what I try to do is I want people to share personal experiences, and I am appreciating that they're sharing that. So be careful in how you're asking them follow-up questions and stuff, right? Like just be mindful. I'm not saying like, so far it's been generally positive, but like again, these are real people. It's not we're not acting or anything. Like sharing, personal experiences. A lot of them you can see like emotional experiences, and clearly if something impacts you, I know we have this topic on social media a lot about, dating, race and all that kind of stuff. Like, let's just be careful in how we kind of follow up that, because these are sensitive things. And again, I appreciate people sharing personal experiences. I think it makes for a more fun conversation as opposed to just saying like, oh, some people might feel like this. I hate those kind of conversations. I don't think there's any real value in them. So I think T wanted to come up earlier. I think now I'm ready to open it up to those kind of questions. I will be moderating still, just to make sure that we're keeping the conversation flowing in an angle I want it to be. But T, if you're ready to come up, do let me know and I'll invite you on. Let me go for.
Can we get some likes flowing in the chat for T? Can we get some likes flowing?
He said he has a question for that. Did you ever change your race preference based on proximity? Oh, okay. Let's have a look. See. T's coming up. Yes. Can I just view it then? Alright, T, let me just invite you. 1 second. There's this minor.
While T's on the way in, everyone be liking the chat. We need to get to at least 10K.
At least. Hello?
Hi guys.
Hello.
Hi.
How are you doing?
How you doing, T?
I'm alright. I'm actually in the hospital, so if you hear a lot of noise in the background,
No way.
that's why.
I love the dedication.
But I'm
Prayers
other than
out for
that,
you, man.
Yeah, hopefully get well soon.
Well, you're a nurse. You're not a patient, right?
no, I'm a patient, unfortunately. But I'm alright.
Prayers out for you,
Hopefully
man.
this
This Sunday, God is going to bust
can
you.
help you, exactly, can help you recover. Think of it as part of your recovery process. I put that on my CV and be like, I even help people get back. I'm like, Jesus, I even I even heal people with my words.
Put certified healer.
Bruh, to be fair, I'm actually healed. I had sickle cell and I had a stem cell transplant, so I'm
No way.
all good now. Healed from sickle cell.
No, amazing.
Yeah,
Wow.
so
I chat, spam the likes, bro. Come on now.
bittersweet. So yeah, I'm in the
Massive
hospital, but
congratulations.
God has done his own miracle.
Oh, well done. Yeah. I'm so happy.
I'm just
for you.
recovering from that. Thank you. But yeah, recovery's been a lot, but yeah, it's been good to be able to say I'm sickle cell free.
Oh, I didn't actually know that was possible to be like, and again, I don't want to divert the conversation.
Yeah,
but like
healed.
Oh,
Yeah,
wow.
legit, yeah. I think I got my blood test not too long ago and they were like, I'm 95% sickle free.
Wow.
So only 5% of sickle. Yeah.
That is incredible.
Even my genotype's completely changed.
But
yeah, let me not change that. No, it's possible. It's possible. And, thank God I live in the UK, so it's free.
Yes, sir.
We know what the Americans are paying.
Shout out to Kira and the boys, man. They done their thing.
Wow.
So, but let me not change the dynamic of your your chat. I can't really remember my question. I think it was my opinion on the list.
Oh yeah, go on.
So,
We're
so
listening.
I was just saying. So initially, I'm a bit older than you guys actually, but yeah. So initially, I was going to say I wrote my list of like what I would want in a man and see in a man, and I feel like as I got older, I realized, not I realized, I met people. Like I made new friends. I met my best friend when I was like 30, and then I realized that even like I didn't even write the qualities she has, but the qualities she has, like I can see how it would help prosper a marriage if it was in a man, if that makes sense. Like she's super empathetic, she's super caring. Like something can happen now, and then I always say it's like something can happen in life, and she just knows how to put the pieces together to make it a beautiful Lego. Like she just knows how to build things and makes it, yeah, like better, if that makes sense. And I wouldn't necessarily put that in my list, or I didn't anyway, because it's not something that I thought of. But I feel like as you grow, or as you like live life, there are qualities that God knows will benefit you, or that will complement you at the same time, that you may not necessarily just write down on a sheet of paper and say, "This is exactly what I want." So I think that's why I stopped looking at like and writing my list. To be fair, in what I want in a partner.
Ah, okay. So that you met your best friend who has a bunch of qualities person that she has that you think that would be really good in a relationship, but you hadn't thought about wanting them in someone else until you met her, and then you feel like, oh, that's actually a really good thing. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, I feel like what I'm trying to say is I feel like it's more like characteristic traits. That's what I meant
Right,
to say.
right, okay, okay,
Do you
okay.
get what I'm trying to
Yeah,
say?
yeah,
So
yeah.
there's like traits in her character that I'm like, okay, this is what would be really beneficial if I had it in a partner as well. But I've never really thought about it essentially before, because I think when you write it, you're writing it from a standpoint of stuff that you just want, kind of thing.
Right.
Whereas like obviously when I started building this friendship with her, I was like, no, these are stuff that I need. Like let's say you now make, I don't know if these guys are your best friends, yeah, but there's obviously a quality in one of them that you're like, damn, no, like I needed you to actually have this quality because you actually helped me so much.
Yeah, you
It
know what?
could be like
That's a very good point.
them calling you.
Yeah, and I think one thing I was gonna say earlier is like I mentioned briefly earlier that Daniel and I have been speaking since we've been friends since 2015, I believe, and we've been speaking
Yeah.
more or less every day since then. Like we never, our conversations never end, and one of the things I've adapted in my list based on that friendship has been someone that's curious. Like curiosity now for me is the biggest thing on my list. When I asked you guys earlier about the most important things on your list, for me, curiosity is the number one thing, personality wise, anyway. And that's largely because of my friendship with Daniel, because we've known each other so long. And the reason why we stayed friends for so long is that we talk about everything. But not only do we talk
Yeah.
about it, it's not really a case of like, I just say it and he's just like, oh, okay, cool, that's crazy. We'll just ask each other loads of questions. And so a lot of our political views used to adapted over time. Even like we talked about even with the girls and stuff. Daniel said like now he's more into like, I don't know, black women and stuff like that. I think he said not really, but I feel like that's again because we just used to share a lot about our experience. So that I wouldn't just be like, oh, that's mad, whatever. I'll be like, why is that? I'll tell him about my experiences.
Yeah.
I'll be like, okay, I feel like they kind of like when a guy is more like this, etc., etc. It's not really about changing yourself, but it's just sharing experiences. And so our friendship, I remember when I was dating my ex, I basically I didn't say it to her, but I was kind of like, if we don't have the same kind of level of open communication that I have with my best friend, it's kind of hard for me to then kind of like be into you in that way. This people are talking about some kind of a bizarre like homoerotic relationship. It's not like that, but it's just like it's such a
No,
blueprint
but I know
for
what you
like
mean.
exactly such a blueprint for what I think a great relationship could be, that I look to that a lot in when I'm trying to find a romantic partner, because like
Yeah.
I can see how good it can be. Basically, like we talk all the time, have open lines of communication. It feels really natural and easy. I'm starting to think like, yeah, low key, this is a blueprint for what a great relationship should have. And I think the same goes with
Yeah.
like, same goes with Bissy as well. Like we became friends more recently than Daniel and I, but our friendship has evolved so much where I can see how again, that's been growing emotionally to the point where, we have a lot of, I'll be honest, emotional conversations. And the more we do that, the easier it's been. So when I start to reflect on the kind of people, the kind of person I want, and I'm sure, you might say the same thing, is like you start to think about, the quality of your friendships can really positively influence the kind of people you look for. And part of
Yeah.
the reason why I wanted to do this topic was that I feel like a lot of guys growing up anyway, maybe even now, it's not uncommon to hear a guy say something like, "Oh, if the girl's bad, that's it, that's fine. Like, I don't really care about anything else. I just want it to look good." Like, they're not actually reflecting on what do I actually need from this relationship in an emotional sense,
Exactly.
which is very important.
And
Like, you go on.
I was just going to say also, you need someone who's actually open-minded and open in general, like open into like new experiences, trying out things that you may not necessarily like, but you learn a lot from what you don't actually like, if I'm being honest, more than doing things you
Exactly,
do like,
100%, 100%.
you know.
Yeah, that list
So
motivation
you
is
definitely need
important.
someone open.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. And I
And I
think,
feel like,
I cut you off. My bad.
oh no, so I was going to say, I just feel like having healthy friendships also benefit in that way because it stirs you in the way of what you do want in a partner. Because essentially, you are going to start off as friends, right? And you want to build off a strong base on that friendship. And you want the qualities, you want to see the qualities that, okay, they can grow in even better. Like, even if we have a argument, or it's not necessarily an argument, we can have discussions as well as arguments. You're able to cipher the two, because I think that's also very hard to find sometimes.
Wait, so
100%.
can I jump in on here and ask a question,
Yeah,
right?
please, please
In
go.
terms of say like healthy friendships, right? Kind of help dictate like what kind of definitions that you want to have in a partner, right? So as this is for women. So as a woman, right? How do you guys respond to say you have a friend, she's kind of interested in this guy, they're not fully dating just yet. How do you guys respond to her that your friend then canceling plans with you because they want to be spending time with that person to get to know them more? Because I found that like with guys, I don't know if it happens more often than not with women, but a lot of like female friends that I do have, they do that quite a lot. They'll cancel plans because they're chilling with their guy or like some guy that they might not be dating. So I'm curious from the women's perspective, how do you guys like respond to that? Are you like fair enough? Are you guys like, oh, you don't even really know him like that, so
No, I don't know. I'm not like everyone, but at the same time, like I said, I'm older. I'm 33. So we're trying to find a husband. So in able to find that man, you need to date. So I don't know. There's not always that much time. So yeah, I'm not really fussed on when it comes to things like cancelling plans. It's more about just like saying, okay, I'm going on a date with someone or we're going out. It's kind of like if we were already going out and then, I don't know, maybe 2 hours to the time, that's when you're now saying, oh, sorry, I got to cancel plans. I'm actually going out with this guy that I just met. Then it's more offensive that you didn't consider me and my time because you could have told me yesterday. Then I could have even done something else with my time as opposed to, oh, I was already getting ready for my day. I had only this booked, and then you're cancelling on me. That's just the principle, not really more of like, I'm going to go see a guy.
so just as extra layer of context, I don't mean like a direct one-to-one, like it was you two men hang out. Say like it was even in a group setting. There's like six of you that are going to go out, but now one doesn't want to come because she's going to be with a man, so it impacts you directly a bit less. Do you still feel like how do you feel about that?
Hello? Testing, testing. 1 2 1 2. Testing, testing. Chris said, "Oh hell no."
But while she's loading up, I see some
Sorry,
comments.
one
Some people,
second, please.
someone said, Debbie was like, I could never cancel plans with my friends to chill with a man. A man or your or your it could be your husband. You don't know.
I don't know. Okay, I'm gonna have to come back because the doctor's here.
Oh,
But
no worries.
yeah, maybe
No
put
worries.
someone else. Sorry,
Go get your treatment.
but yeah, I'll be back.
Get healed up. See you soon.
Yeah, I
Thank
see.
you.
Uh,
Bye.
bless up. I see Jojo. She's saying it depends on how many times they've done this. That's a good point. To be fair, once, fair enough. Twice, I'm looking at you sideways. Three times, I'm vexed. I'm not even gonna lie.
I'm curious about whether or not something I've done. And this is more of a social one, but on the point you've just mentioned there, this is this is more of a social one. Bear with me here, and it would be nice actually to have some girls on here to come and talk about this because this is different for us as guys. When guys go out, I don't know if you girls have noticed this. Let's say, a group of guys are out, and again, guys on the thing can attest to this. And you met some girl, and you guys were having a really good time, and she was like, "Oh, let's go to this other place." Sometimes we know what that other place is, but let's just say that if my guy comes to tell me like, "Oh, I met this girl, we want to go X, Y, and Z," we'll be like, "Yeah, go do your thing." But girls usually find it quite offensive. Like, why are you leaving with this random guy you just met? I wonder why that is. Like, we don't seem fussed about that. Have you noticed that? Like, we don't really care. Like, yeah, bro, do you?
Her voice has changed. She wants to come up and answer.
They're jealous. That's why Jupiter said. And he said it's a safety issue.
Actually, you know what? All of those points are actually very fair. I'm not gonna lie. But at the same time, there's a bit of hating going on. There has to be. There has to be a bit of hating. No, because like I've had it happen to me where it's like I was at a friend's birthday party, and then like I was talking to a friend of her, a friend of the. Oh, hey, how you doing?
Fine. You
Okay, good. Wait, I can hear
yeah, to
myself.
answer this.
I can hear myself. That's odd. Whoa.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, Chris, you have some mad echo going on.
Okay, 1 second.
Like, well, while she's on now, so as I was saying, so I was getting on with one of the friends of my friend that was hosting the birthday party, and so we were like, "Oh, let's go get some food and like do like just kind of do our own thing, side missions, isn't it?" And then another one of her friends, or I think it was a family member or something like that, was like super against the idea because she was like, "Oh, like why are you gonna leave us?" Da, 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 da. And then the person that I was talking to, she was like, "Yeah, bro, like it's not that deep, like." Because obviously I'm best friends with it was like a joint birthday party, so it was two celebrants, and I was like good friends with that guy. So it's obviously I'm not like a stranger. I'm not like some random guy that just came out of the middle of nowhere. So she was like, yeah, like I'm feel confident just hanging out with him because obviously if he's best friends with my cousin's like brother or something like that, like it's fine type thing. But then her friends were not happy about that. So like, where does that balance come between like it being a safety thing, it being like, oh, you're just looking out for your friend versus you're just like, oh, I don't want to be left like alone to then have to interact with people on my terms rather than like us two together so like we can kind of ignore the rest of everybody in the venue that we're in and just be by ourselves.
Hi, good
Hello.
afternoon. Hi, good afternoon. I need to jump off soon. So, anyway, AJ, thank you for the live. It's very interesting and very thought provoking. So, I just want to say respectfully, very good live.
Likes in the chat.
And I mean, coming from your age is really good because obviously there's a lot of different lives, to be honest. Anyway, so I want to answer the other question prior to this question.
Oh, please.
The first question is about in terms of canceling, your friends canceling on you and stuff like that, new guy, not new guy, or married. I've had that experience before whereby, well, I thought this girl was my best friend, but it turned out I called her my best friend, but I wasn't her best friend. That's when I started to find out about that. And I am 37 years old. So I've experienced a few things, right? And in saying that, what I've realized is that it's about also respecting people's time. As we get older, time is so important. Canceling on somebody with short notice, somebody could have done something else. In terms of doing it once, like someone mentioned, doing it once, oh yeah, it's okay. However, at the end of the day, when I realized that when people are in their relationships, when things go wrong, then they backfall on their friends. When things are going all great, then, oh, you know what? Yeah, my man.
Preach.
Right? Yeah, my man. So, with friends like that, you have to be very cautious because at the end of the day, a man is not an island. Yes, you're going to be in that marriage, you're going to be in that relationship, but you're still going to need your friends sometimes. Anyway, wise friends. If you've got good friends that will give you good, sound, balanced advice, you're fine. If you've got friends that are not reasonable, then you've got a problem, right? Anyway, so that one out of the way. So I feel like it's about respecting each other's time. Time is short. You don't know what can happen. So respect people's time. And I would say it's about planning. when you're going to, oh, you're going to see your friend, or I'm going to see my man, blah, 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 blah. Yes, you need to get to know somebody, but you can get to know somebody by speaking on the phone to them, etc., etc., etc. Anyway, second question, in terms of, what did you say again? Sorry, rejig my mind. I'm so sorry. I've
It's
got
right.
brain
It's fine.
fog.
I was talking about the difference, like where in a social setting, when you're out and a guy wants to like, oh, let's just go out with this girl, and the girls with her friends, the friends are usually more, they're like, nah, you can't do that. Why are you doing that? And the guys are more like, we don't care. I think people mention the difference.
So
That's fine. Go on.
I think with guys, because one thing is, men, you can defend yourself. Think about it. Do you know what I mean? If a bunch of guys came to you and said to you, oh yeah, it's new friend. If I, let's say AJ, you know, for example, if you was my boyfriend and you just met a bunch of guys, and then we were somewhere out and they were like, oh yeah, let's go to this thing and let's go. I'm not gonna be worried.
Right.
You're a guy. You can look after yourself, right? In some cases, yes. I think it's all about knowing people, but when you're young, it's hard to really see if somebody's got best interest for you or not. Sometimes we're always shouting best friend, this friend, blah 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 blah. Meanwhile, that person is actually jealous in you. That is about growing to finding out, actually, is this actually protection or is this jealousy? And I feel like that's with growth and with experience. And that's with discernment. Obviously, if you pray, if you're Christian, fine, discernment, pray to God. If it's not, you're going to find out yourself. Life will throw you some curveballs for you to understand, you know, nature, people, life, and lived experiences. So I think, yes, there's about protecting yourself. And then also there's about, actually, is it jealousy? But half of the time, if we think about it, if somebody's trying to invite you out, and kind of put you, especially a girl, put you in a closed, confined place, and you don't have your friends. What if something does pop off and go wrong? Then do you know what I mean? Then what? You know, the last person that girl was with, I don't know, Fiona or whatever. Do you get what I'm trying to say? So sometimes genuinely it's about protecting our friends, and then sometimes it could be like, you know, and so on. I think if in event that the guy did invite her other friend, I think the other friend will be okay.
Okay.
Do you understand?
Now,
If you're just inviting one, it's gonna be a bit, ooh. Do you understand? It'll be a bit scary, a bit.
That was
in that sense.
Yeah, I get that was a question I was more curious about. In terms of male, I guess, friendships, male perceptions, etc., etc. You know, we've talked a lot about the kind of ways we view the world and stuff. Do you have any specific questions for us that you've always been curious, like why do men think this way? Are they, you know, we've shared some stuff if you wanted to ask about that, or like
Yeah, I mean, I want
dynamics
to
and
ask
stuff
you
like that.
this.
Please.
Do you know what I want to ask is, why is it, what I've noticed anyway, is that I realize that men gossip a lot. And, but that is as I've been kind of navigating through life. Like, men kind of gossip a lot and don't keep their relationship confidential. If something's happening in their partner's life and their partner goes to confide in them, their friend already know. Why do men do that? Why don't you just keep it between you and your girl? What is that all about? I just want to know about that. And then
Is this exclusive to men? Because like I as a man, I can very much say that women do the exact same thing. So is it like you have an issue with men doing it specifically, or is it like anyone who does it at all?
I believe anyone, for me, it's anyone that does it at all. However, what I've experienced is that the women that I've been around, I can't talk for all women, right? You know, they will only speak about something that, oh no, the person is annoying them. For example, let's say now I had a problem, a situation at work, right? In a very embarrassing situation, blah, 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 it's going to affect my finances or something like that. I realized that men talk about everything. Sometimes women are very specific. They will only talk about, this person is doing this to me, but not talk about, you know, yeah, my man's lost his job, or, you know, you know, I've been around women don't, the women that I've been around, they haven't done that.
So you're talking about them talking about what their partner's going through?
Yeah, what their partner's going through, you know, and stuff like that. Why don't you keep it confidential and, you know, see how you and your partner, you know, support your partner to kind of get through whatever that hurdle is.
Let me first ask Bissy and then Daniel then. Let me ask them first if they would do that before I can start asking them why they do it. So basically, if you were dating someone and your girl was going through a tough time like that, would you tell me?
So it's an interesting way of framing it, from her voice, her strength. Because again, it's like when I take a step back, when I hear what you're saying, because again, from my experience, and I'm a guy, I don't have many guys that ever tell me like, oh yeah, my girl's this or my girl's like going through that, this or that, this or that. But when they do, it's always been a case of like they're trying to seek how they can improve the situation. So they're looking for like console, basically, right? On like, okay, well, this is a situation that's going on. I don't know what's going on. Do you have any experience in this? Do you know anyone who does? It's more like looking for help kind of thing, right? So if I was to do the same thing and talk about like my partner's situation, that would be the reason. I'm looking for console. I'm looking for like more ideas on how to like impact that situation.
What about you, Daniel? What do you think? What would you
Yeah,
do?
I was gonna say the same thing. I
Yeah.
was gonna say the same thing, but obviously less eloquently. Just I would tell my friend just for a different perspective. Maybe I'm seeing something in my way. Based on my views, my experiences. My friend might be able to see it in a different way. And some of my friends, for example, like Ade, like you, I'll say it's smarter than me. So, I think it's good to get some advice from people that
So Jupiter,
are
someone
smarter than me.
mentioned in the comments about how it's because women care more about how they look, men don't. Sounds a bit accusatory, so I'm not gonna say that to you. Her voice is strong. That's a very wordy. Do you have a one word name we can call you? Saying 4 words every time you want to.
Oh, sorry, my name is Andrea. You can call me
Andrea.
Andrea. That's my name.
Refreshing. All right. So I think I agree with.
Nice name.
Nice name,
Nice
bro. Keep,
meeting you
keep
as
in
well.
keep in your
Nice to
pants.
meet you.
Keep in your pants, buddy. Okay. I'm joking. I'm joking. I think I agree with what you both said. I think I share almost everything with these guys, and I think it would not come from a place. I can't even imagine a world in which like what are they gonna do what do they care about what she's going through in that way to for her to feel embarrassed about it. Like, of course they're not gonna go and tell my girl that Ade said X, Y, and Z, but it's obviously gonna come from a place of like in a way if my girl's going through it, I'm also going through it. So if that's the case, then I don't really see why I would withhold sharing that information from them, especially again to the point that it's something that they can potentially help with or share that experience with. So that's probably something that's a difference in male friendship because a lot of times people view it as like I've always assumed kind of like women have the more close knit friendship because it's more emotional. But it seems like at least in this dynamic anyway, us as guys are a lot more closer and willing to kind of share that. We don't feel like there should be any boundary in that regard because there's no way to interpret that negatively is what I'm thinking. Like, why would they use that information in any negative way as apart from like just helping me? Someone said for the guys that treat relationship as a team sport, we're all in it together, man. We have to help each other. So,
I
Andrea,
think I
maybe
think
that's
just like
you're gone.
so I was gonna say I think just as an add on to that, I think men are less akin to the idea of evil eye and stuff like that, which has its positives and negatives. I think like in terms of from my experience anyway, women are more like or they don't speak about certain things or like their relationship and stuff like that because they believe people do try actively their friends try actively to lead them astray and make them be like oh like you know what might as well just leave him or da 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 da. But I feel from my experience like guys don't really think like that. It's more like okay how do we actually like arrive at a solution. So that's probably why men are more comfortable talking about these things because I like almost naive to believe our friends would try and like set us up for an outcome that doesn't benefit us.
100%. So, Andrea, do you feel like maybe there's a trust element in there? Like, if you're dating someone
Yeah.
and you don't, like, as a guy, and you guys going through something tough, is part of the reason why you don't tell your friend? Is there unspoken level of maybe trust in that? You think, or am I barking up the wrong tree?
You know what? I think, I don't know, maybe because of my upbringing, right? If something is happening in a bad way, I've always been told to close your mouth, right? And I think it's anything, I feel like for me, is that I think that's personally for me, right? If I'm going through anything life changing, I have to be silent, right? If I then speak to somebody, that means I'm crying out for help and I'm just trying to probably vent and I need to see, okay, what solution would this person say? Are they going to calm my mind down? The last thing I expect is for the person to go and speak about it to their friends. However, in what you've said and explained, I think it's fair. However, I think men should still say, you know what? I don't really know how to advise you on that. I'm going to speak to one of my friends. Do you mind? I think that is it'll be a bit nice. It'll be a bit kind to do that, because I feel like it then becomes, I think somebody mentioned that if your friend's a babbler, it's not going to help, because then other person, oh, do you know so and so AJ's girl is going through this? Oh, do you get? Do you know? I mean, men actually do talk.
Yeah, but I'm just thinking.
I've seen some of the men's group chats.
What community of people? First of all, we're not even in group chats. I don't even know who's in like.
Oh, you're not okay.
I don't know who's in group chats that active at this age, but like, I wouldn't also like. Again, what would they be using that information for? I think that actually exposes to me a fascinating difference between men and women. Maybe like that's how you would view it. But I think Bissy and previously Daniel got it exactly right. Like if Bissy told me or vice versa some kind of information about his romantic situation, who would I even tell? And why would I tell them? I don't get it. I'm not sure exactly.
But no, that's really good.
I'm not sure.
Yeah, I think it's different if, say, like your girl is part of like an overlapping friendship group. Then I understand the concerns. But if it's like my boy is dating someone that I've never met and I don't know, it's like it doesn't really make a difference to me. So obviously, it's like I'd be more inclined to just like talk to them about whatever situation they're telling me about that the partner's going through in a way that like can help resolve the situation, or just talk to him. To be fair, because again, you still need to talk to people about like in general. Because if you keep everything inside, you just kind of explode in a way.
Yeah.
Also, actually, just to add to it, it's a bit of a side note, right? But this, I don't know if anybody else has experienced this, but what you're saying now is something that I experienced when I was going into like corporate work for the first time. All the black people, right? And I'm being race specific here. We're all like, if you're going through anything, if like hide your business, don't tell people. It's almost like be almost mysterious in the workplace. And when I first started working, I did that, and I realized it was not in my best interest, because now it's like the people there don't understand you, you don't understand them. Everything's a bit murky, and then it's stressful. But then when you look at a lot of like, say, like the milkmen, yeah, they come in talking about their whole lives, their dogs, their cats, their everything, and now they slot a lot better into that environment because they're open, right? So I think there is this kind of like trace of being reserved that like a lot of, say, ethnic people, I was not, maybe expand a bit wider from being black, a lot of ethnic people go into situations thinking like, I can't tell people, I can't be open, I need to keep everything myself and do everything myself. And that's just not beneficial for, one, mental health, and two, for actual like progression in any situation, relationship or otherwise. That's what I've come to realize, that it doesn't help you like just keeping everything to yourself, because you're only one person.
I agree.
What I mean is, sorry, go ahead.
No, please.
Yeah, what I mean is some things, it's about having balance, right? And it's about having boundaries for yourself in anywhere in life, right? Whether it be at work, whether it be in relationship, whether it be friendships, whatever it is, it's about having boundaries, right? Not everything you're going to share at work, not everything you're going to share in relationships, not everything. Does that make sense in that sense? That's what I mean.
No,
just about having a bit of a balance.
That makes sense. Do you have any?
You get what I mean? It's about having a balance. Do you know, like, for example, this is it's a bit personal. For example, for me, when I was diagnosed with breast cancer, I didn't go and speak about it. Does that make sense? And I wasn't in a relationship then. I'm still not. But I had a best friend, all of that. But I had to take time before I can say, you know what, I'm going through this. Do you get what I mean? But when I did tell my best friend, she then, which is something, and she knows I don't like sharing things that are very, personal. When I shared it to her, she decided to tell her boyfriend. Do you get what I'm trying to say? So I'm not trying to say just men. I know women do it as well. But I feel like things like we have to try and be a bit like, have a bit of wisdom, do you understand? And discernment on, is it everything I need to share with my friend? Or can I pause, think about it, and how can I advise my partner? Does that make sense? Can we pause?
How did you find out that she told her boyfriend?
How did I find out? Is because she told on herself. She said, "Oh, you know what? I know you don't like this. I know you don't like this. But the reason why I did this was for maybe he can help you get some insurance." And I said, "Well, no. Once there's a diagnosis, it's too late. I can't have any type of insurance, right?" So there was a lot of things as well, and even like with male friends and everything like that. I realized that people would just. And then I became so silent and I became so withdrawn, right? And then it was like, okay, I can't trust anybody, but I got to fight this disease, right? And how am I going to beat this disease, right? I had to shut everything off because everybody's talking, right?
Can I ask you a specific question in terms of
Yeah.
when you found out she told him, if you just play through that thought of like, again, this sounds a bit silly, but like, what was your worst fear around that? Besides the part of like you just didn't want anyone.
It wasn't a fear. It wasn't a fear. It's the fact that it's personal. Does that make sense? There's no fear. I've got no. If I had fear, I wouldn't be talking about it now. I don't mean. Does that make sense?
I don't mean fear in terms of like an actual physical fear. Like, usually if people feel a reticence to share stuff, right, it usually comes from a kind of, or at least for other people to know, especially someone as close as a boyfriend. It usually comes from.
But I don't know her boyfriend.
You've never met him or something.
Does that mean I didn't know her boyfriend? I never met this boyfriend. You told me, you're in a relationship.
But let's be real. Let's be real. I'll be honest.
And they had that kind of situation. I mean, I'm surprised if he doesn't tell me. If anything.
Yeah, you know what I mean. Like, oh no. Well, let's keep it in the context of what you're saying in terms of like their boyfriend, right? So, do you believe like if somebody's dating someone, obviously means they're sharing intimate time spaces and like, potentially on their way to like being married to that person. Do you actually believe if you tell them anything, their partner would not know? Fair enough.
So now what I've learned, Ashley's got married to this person. Obviously they have pillow talks, right? And one thing what I've realized is that as I'm growing, I do not want to be a couple where I'm having pillow talks about people's situations.
Really?
I think that it's no, I don't.
Yeah, that's not healthy though. I don't see how this is beneficial for your relationship.
Look, for me personally, I believe in being confidential and protecting people's business. Because at the end of the day, you can be discussing. You got to be very careful. I think it's about protect people's information and let it go, in my opinion. Do you know what I'm trying to say?
Where did you draw the boundary on that?
But also you do have, like, if you want to talk about something or you need help or you need advice, there is other people that are really close to you to be speaking about it about. For example, if I'm having a situation, even family wise or anything like that, I'm not going to go to my friends and go to my family. Sometimes I feel like, okay, if it's affecting my mental health, I will go to a therapist. I'm not going to lie. I will actually go to a therapist, speak to a therapist.
You don't want to talk to the people that actually care about you.
I will actually speak to a therapist. That's what I would do. However, in terms of, but you're not really understanding. There's different subject matters. There's some things that are very, very, very personal. And there's some things that are like, you know what, it's not, do you understand what I'm trying to say? So it's about it's about having the right, it's about judging with discernment, which is the thing that, okay, let me get advice on this from this person. Does that make sense? It's having a balance. I'm not saying
I have a question.
Everything. Yeah.
I have a question. So what is really that personal, right? Say like for the context you gave that somebody like yourself, you have cancer. Everyone gets cancer at some point in their life. Everyone has family members who have cancer. Say it's a thing of someone's been cheated on. Everyone's been cheated on at some point. What is actually so personal that you couldn't speak to people who actually care about you about those situations to help at least uplift your mental health, right? And the context I'm giving is, say your best friend forever, eternity, right, is going through something so deep and dark and they're struggling. So now you're in a situation where, like, because you care about your friend, it's impacting the way you feel and how you're going about your day. Because if my best friend was going through something crazy, I would feel like that. Your partner has noticed it now because obviously they spend so much time with you and they can tell that something's off. So obviously when we talk about pillow talk, they're going to try and pry into what's impacting your state, which is a situation about your friend. So if you then actively choose not to divulge that information with them, which is obviously fair enough, that's your choice, it then creates that gap, like in the chat, Em mentioned it isolates you within your own relationship because there's something that you don't want to tell them about, right? So like is this not something you consider? Because again, going to like a therapist is good in a way because it's non-biased judgment, well, not judgment, but non-biased support, but the therapist knows you as a paycheck. Let's be real, you know what I mean? You're just paying them. So like there's not that insight of who you are and what you've been through like your friends would have or your partner would have, that they can actually like talk to you on a level that impacts you.
Okay,
point.
thanks. Okay, can I just interject on everyone goes through this? I know because it's not happened to you personally, you can't just say, oh, everyone's going to get cancer in the point of their life. I felt that personally for me, I felt that was a bit insensitive. But
Have you
I
looked at the
understand.
stats though? Like, I'll be real.
Hold on. I'm just saying, I totally understand. But however, people that go through cancer, cheating and stuff like that, it's not nothing. Some people lose their life. Some people lose their life even because someone's cheated on them. So you can't make it look like, oh, this is stats, this is this, this is that. I just wanted to say that because personally for me, I didn't really receive that well. However, I understand what you were trying to say and deliver. So respectfully, I think that delivery was a bit, I didn't receive it well. I just wanted to say that.
Apologies.
You know, I didn't, it's not good, but I'm used to that because people tend to say things in the way because it's not happening to them. But cancer is real, it's deep, and it kills. People cheating is deep and it does kill some people. So please, let's not just make it like, oh, it's a stat thing and it's minute. This is real life. This is real people, right? In terms of what you've said, respectfully, it's not about me being selfish. Someone said about being very selfish. It's not about me being selfish. It's not about me not caring. But I feel like going through life experiences, what I've realized is that it doesn't just stop with the partner. That's the problem as well. So sometimes let's get together and let's try and figure it out together. If we can't do it together, all right, fine. Go to your friend.
Fair
Go
enough.
to your friend. That's
All right.
fine.
I don't want to derail the conversation and get into other stuff I didn't mean to get into. Appreciate your contributions. Do you have any more questions for us specifically about guys?
You know what?
relations
No,
before I
thank
answer?
you for. No. Thank you so much for your platform.
Apologies if I did trigger you. By the way, as you identified, as that was not my intention.
Oh no, you didn't trigger me. I just felt like I just didn't receive it well, but it's cool. Do you know what I mean? I totally get what you were saying, and thank you so much. And
Appreciate you joining.
thank you so much for the platform. And yeah, take care of you guys and have a wonderful day. God bless.
Likes in the chat. We're at 10K. We need to get to 12 before this
Hopefully
ends.
See you next in the next conversation as well. Every
Yeah,
Sunday-
definitely,
every
absolutely. If I come
Sunday, 2
across your
p.m.,
live,
I'm here. I'm always
Okay.
here every Sunday 2 p.m. All right, see you.
oh, 2 p.m. Sunday.
Yeah.
All right, then see you later. God bless. All right,
Likes
bye.
in the chat. Likes in the chat.
Femi, you've come up. What's up?
Wow, how you been? You good?
I've been very good, man. How are you?
I'm good, man. Can't complain.
Are you still hooping?
So.
Fair enough. Now, I know obviously you're not. You have a different friendship group. So I'm curious to get your take on, I guess, similar kind of thing we've been talking about in terms of the impact. I know it's a general question. I'll try and be more specific with it. But you know,
I've had time to think of an answer.
you've had time to
based
think.
on your question.
Amazing. So you sound a bit
So-
quiet, by the way. I don't know if your audio needs to.
I'll move closer. Is this better?
That's better.
Yeah, much better.
Okay. So I mean, early on, you asked about 3 things that you would want to see. I think for me, as I've grown up, those 3 things have changed.
Right.
Aesthetically, everyone has their type,
Yeah.
and obviously it does matter because you should find a person you're with attractive. But what I'm looking for mainly on the inside is emotional maturity, the ability to comprehend, and what's the third one? Consideration. I feel like this season of life, I've really learned that to be loved is to be considered. So people who lack a certain level of consideration are more people who tend to take instead of giving. So I wrote earlier in the chat that consideration is important, reciprocity is important, because you can't just constantly be the one pouring out and not being poured into. Do you get?
I feel like a lot of guys kind of complain around that, don't they? Like, well, not complain, but there's a conversation around that. Like, and it seems like something you've kind of almost
100%.
arrived at more recently. Do you think like when you were younger, it's something you didn't really pay attention to really deep like that?
Of course, because bro, I would say I'm a lover boy. As in, when I like someone or when I fall in love, I love deeply, but to the point where I'm constantly giving, not realizing how it's impacting me negatively. So as I've grown older, I've really realized how important it is to be receiving as well. And yeah, I'll say that's definitely something I've been bigger on as I've gotten older.
Wait, can I jump in on this, right?
Yeah.
Because I have I've worked with a lot of people. I've managed people, large groups of people. So I've come to realize that a lot of the time, how you vocalize, you know, your expectation or what you want from them is more important than how that person naturally acts. Because again, they could come from a family where they're an only child. They could come from a family or a situation where they don't need to pour into their friends, right? So that could be what they're used to. Are you? How good are you at telling them, what you require to feel comfortable, to feel whole? Like, do you have those conversations, being like, look, I've done all these things, but I want you to do the same, like to me, because a lot
Yeah,
of people will feel that way, but then not say
they
anything, and
won't
then it
say
just
anything.
compounds.
Yeah, I like that question. So, not to toot my own horn, but I feel like I communicate very well. Like I don't struggle having difficult conversations, and I try to explain myself and articulate myself in a way where that person can understand what I need and where I'm coming from. So when it comes to answer your question, yes, because obviously love isn't the end all be all, because it's more of an active thing. So you learn how to love your partner. It's not like things just click from the get go. If it does, then great, but majority of the time it doesn't.
Yeah.
So I definitely focus on communicating my needs just as much, because one thing I've realized, which I didn't mention, like it's been a conversation for guys a lot, but as I'm getting older, I'm really realizing how bad it is, because a lot of guys deal with the same, like similar issues,
Right.
but they stay. They stay, and then overall, like they start building resentment, they start being unhappy. So many things just go wrong. And I like what you were saying earlier. It was Bissy, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, about how you're approaching the whole topic of marriage. I don't approach it the same way, but I still like what you said, just because yeah, a woman can really impact your life, like for the better or for the worse. So it's really important on how you pick them. So
No,
that's what my
those are great
opinion.
points for me, and I think the point you mentioned around, even as we're talking about it now, BC and I talk about this quite a bit, which is like kind of demanding more from women or something like that. But you don't realize how much of it, like now you're mentioning, is like there's actually a lot of guys are kind of coming into the same realization almost organically. I don't want to blame
Yeah,
social media in this respect, but I think actually I can and I will. Over the past few years, we've seen like the whole "I'm just a girl" and the kind of whole the obligation, like a man has to do this because he's a man kind of thing.
yeah,
And you haven't had the same kind of level of, like, a lot of men, I'll be honest, haven't really considered, what is it like we actually need from these situations. Like, it's like, in as much as we talk about our romantic
exactly.
experiences, you feel like we just still kind of date in silos where we don't really know what's going on like that. Like, I can be telling, your boy can be telling you about his experience with a girl, dating, or even just, going out, whatever. But he's not going to get into like the deeper emotional, like, actually, this is not really working for me because low key, I have this kind of emotional sensitivity that she's not meeting. Do you feel like you have those kind of tough conversations with your friends?
Yes, definitely. I
That's
have them with
good.
my friends.
That's really good.
I have them with, like, obviously when I was in a relationship, I was having those in my relationship as well.
Very nice.
Like my last one ended just because of that specific reason. So I'm very like marriage oriented.
Oh, okay.
But after a while, so like it lasted for 2.5 years, but there was a lot of patience and grace that I was giving, that it got to a point where I'm just like, I'm waking up unhappy. So it got to a point where I was just like, yeah, I've had these conversations one too many times now, and things aren't really changing. And I've tried to find different ways to understand why things aren't changing or why things are the way they are, but just got nowhere. So obviously, at the end, you have to choose yourself. And I like what you said about the fact that some guys just don't realize that there's stuff that they need as well. I
100%.
feel like that's another thing. A lot of guys
100%.
tend to not think about that. They just think that, okay, cool, I'm making money, I can provide for this girl, I can do this, I can do that. But they're not thinking about what they need themselves.
And I
So,
think
I
a
think,
lot.
to be fair, I was just going to say, to add to that, I do feel like, because the kind of discourse around men is almost like we're meant to be, you know, what's the word? Rocks. We're meant to be almost nonchalant as a default. We're meant to be all this kind of stuff. But that myself and Ade, and I assume you as well, we can admit, like, we're actually somewhat sensitive.
yeah,
We respond to different stimuli in different ways, and like that's just who we are. And I,
yeah,
I do think, like, once you start leaning into what you respond to and what makes you feel that kind of way, and like curating an environment that caters or supports that, then
Mhm.
you're better off. But a lot of people, it's like, even if they notice it, they're just like, oh no, but I can't accept that, this is bugging me, or I can't talk about this, that, and the other because it's not, couth. So they just internalize it, and then it
Exactly.
starts to eat them from the inside.
Yeah, and that's a problem because at that point, it's a selfish action almost because it starts building resentment, and then naturally you start treating your partner differently as well, and that's just unhealthy at the same time. So yeah, and I agree with what you're saying for sure.
Nice. Now, segueing a bit to like more of a personality development, I had a thought about how your friendships kind of help you develop as a person. Um,
Mhm.
I think obviously, to my knowledge and the way I'm seeing it, friendships are where you get the most influence, even more so than social media. Maybe that's not always the case, but for most people, for a lot of people, but generally speaking, that's the case. And so I wanted to kind of ask, maybe start with you, Femi, in terms of like how your friendships have kind of developed your personality. I feel like I've known you for a long time, but I've not known you, because I've known of you kind of for a very long time.
Yeah.
So how would you say like your friendships have kind of influenced the kind of personality you would describe as today? Well, the first question is meant to be like, how do you describe your personality to someone that doesn't know you? Maybe we can do that first, just to get the audience knowing you a little bit. How would you describe
How would
your
I describe my personality? Yeah,
someone
that
that
one
doesn't
is
know?
tough. I mean, I'll go based off what people tell me.
Right.
So they describe me as like friendly, sometimes like too friendly, as in too nice.
Really?
Um, yeah, as in no, definitely, definitely. I've had to work on that because I'm too nice in the sense of I like to help people so
Right.
much so that I don't realize that I'm like really stretching myself
Oh, okay.
thin. So um, that's one thing. Um, I'll say I'm sensitive in the sense, like I'm very sensitive to others' emotions. So before I've said something or before I've done something, I've thought about it 10 times over. Um, so because I don't, I like to think about, okay, if this person was moving this way with me,
Mm-hmm.
would I like it or not? I think that's just a way to think about life in general, and it helps.
Yeah.
It helps when it comes to treating people like in a
100%.
way that is respectful.
Yeah.
And then to answer your question about how my friendships have impacted these things,
Mm-hmm.
um, I'll say, ooh, yeah, I think different friends have brought different things to my life. So I
Right.
have a lot of female friends, and I think is that helps when it comes to like hearing a woman's perspective about how, for example, guys treat them or what they're expecting from guys, and it helps me think more deeply about my own actions towards women and society in general. Um, I have
Interesting.
different friends who are like more stoic. They just don't show emotion. That's
Right.
also helped me when it came to tackling the thing about me being too nice and stuff like that because there's a balance to everything.
Of course.
So I think, yeah, I have different friends for different things, if that makes sense.
Yeah. And so you touched on the female friends element. And you mentioned how that's
Hmm.
kind of helped you kind of understand women better. Has that given you a kind of, I don't know, a better insight into how women think that you wouldn't necessarily have? And is there anything that surprised you in what you've learned about that? Because I'll be honest, if I just go by my example, um, I have quite a few female
Hmm.
friends as well, but and again, I think there's a tremendous value in it. Not necessarily because they're women and they're feminine or whatever like that, but I suppose it is a different way of viewing the world, right? But one thing I've
Yeah.
noticed is that generally speaking, I think the biggest thing that surprised me about that is that there is really a kind of a lack of understanding in how sensitive men are also. That's one thing I've really
Hmm.
picked up from my female friendships. And I don't think it's their fault in a sense. I don't know exactly what I'll put that down to. And it sounds a bit basic or rudimentary to say this is all a social media problem. But I do genuinely think a lot of people drink that Kool-Aid where if you're on there that much and every kind of general perspective being shared about men is either like they're horrible, because I've literally seen people say something like, "Oh, I've seen girls tweet like they don't want to have a son because he's male and men can grow up to be X, Y, and Z." If
Yeah.
that's the kind of like things you consume about men, or in the relationship angle, you're a man, so why don't you pay for this or pay for that? Why are you not doing this? Why are you not doing that? I can see why you almost forget that men actually have the same range of emotions you do, you know. So
Yeah,
have you noticed that in your?
exactly.
Because that's something I've really picked up in my female friendships, and like, again, I don't know. Some
Hmm.
of them might be in here. I've had arguments with some of them sometimes, and I'm like, why would you view me in this way, or why would you say something like this? Like, I also have feelings too,
Yeah.
and it's kind of like, oh, they take that like, oh shit, yeah, you do. Have you noticed that, or am I just talking crazy?
100%, 100%. Which is why I really appreciate those friendships because the same way they can give me a different perspective about women, I'm able to give them a different perspective about men.
Yeah, for sure.
Especially because I don't struggle when it comes to, um, I guess, communicating feelings or just being vulnerable.
Mm,
So it does help them understand that, oh, yeah, you know what? Fair enough. This is true. Like, as I said recently, when I came out of a relationship and I was talking to my friends about, oh, yeah, I just wasn't happy. They, yeah, I think it brought a different perspective to how people saw things. I think it really helped a lot of guys around me actually as well,
no,
because everyone I told was just like, you know what, I'm proud of you because I've deeped it. A lot of guys I know just would stay and they'll
yeah,
just be unhappy.
that's
But can I jump in here? Yeah.
yeah. Please go
You
on.
know what? You know how people are talking about like, oh, like as a man, as a man, as a man. Yeah. The irony of that whole context is like, as a man, if you're an actual like, if you're a man, you do what you want anyway. You do whatever makes sense to you in it. So like the whole idea of as a man, you should do something is counterintuitive to the definition of a man, which is you do what you want, right? So I don't know. I don't know if people really think about this when they use that statement because that's how I feel. Anytime somebody uses or as a man to me, I'm like, well, as a man, I'll do what I want. So I'm just going to do that instead of whatever you think I should be doing. So in kind of linking back to you talking to your friends about certain situations, I don't get how more people don't operate like that. And it's like, if I'm in a situation that doesn't benefit me, then like,
Yeah,
why am I here? You
No,
know,
no, but,
rather than like
but
actually
I
dwelling
understand
too
that though
long.
because I feel like that general sensitivity doesn't like you can feel it, but it's not something you would immediately consider. And I think
exactly.
obviously even like the whole I don't know as a man conversation or like or saying or whatever, the other paradoxical element to it is that it probably would benefit women if men were actually more open and a lot of those things that they say men shouldn't be doing as a man if they were doing those things. I think
Definitely.
that would actually improve gender relations more generally because the kind of sensitivity that
Hmm.
women already have more naturally, men will be able to develop. I think it's within us. I think a lot of men are sensitive in that way. It's just like maybe not expressed or whatever, but those things will be able to easily develop. So like even you saying it now, you saying like there were some emotional needs that you wanted met that she wasn't meeting or she wasn't able to meet for whatever reason, and that's why you kind of to end it. I promise you, there are loads of girls in the chat that are like, really, guys can do that. Like they just like because there are a lot of men that wouldn't really even think about. Again, it's not an unpopular opinion, even as old as we are, for a guy to say like, yeah, I just want a girl that just looks bad and that's it. Like that's not unpopular. Like loads of men think that way,
Yeah.
and that's because they don't have a sensitivity to, in the first instance, what they really need. And I think part of the reason why I do try and have these conversations also is like I do want to bridge that gap and like awaken our consciousness in the sense of like we are sensitive beings also, even just like not talking about stuff like, which is why when I started the conversation I made a point to not kind of
Mm.
focus on the aesthetic element of what we want. There are emotional needs that we have as well that it would be nice for women to actually hear like, oh yeah, we do have those needs and we're talking constantly around how do we get those needs met. So like first of all, good on you for
Yeah.
having that level of sensitivity, but maybe I should ask basically the same question I asked you in terms of like female friendships. And is there anything significant you kind of notice? I think what do you call it? Femi and I kind of shared about how again I've learned that women don't actually really think about men as being sensitive. Femi kind of mentioned how he's able to learn from them, but also kind of I guess teach them like there is a sensitivity to us. Is there anything you've that's kind of stuck out to you? And but first of all, maybe do you have that many female friends? And then secondly, obviously the follow up question to that.
Can you just repeat the follow-up question?
So the first question would be like, do you have a lot of female friends? And then
Female
secondly,
friends, yeah, I have a couple. Yeah, I have a couple.
and the follow up question will be like, what's the kind of the biggest takeaway you've gotten from those friendships?
So yeah, I definitely do have female friends. I think my female friends versus my male friends, I don't really kind of class them in any different kind of category. Like the way I'll talk to my female friends and my male friends is more or less the same. Like I do see a friend as a friend. Gender is kind of a sub factor to that. It doesn't really make a difference because with my friends, like I'm open. I'll be a bit goofy. I'm just myself, right? I feel like through my female friends, I understand a bit more of like how women think and how they operate. But from where I've reached in my life, I've realized that it doesn't really matter because again, if you're operating, if you want to build a life that works for you, you have to think about what you're doing and not necessarily too much about what the other person is doing, right? All the basics like being generous or kind or caring about the other person or like listening attentively is the same regardless of men or women, because if you're trying to have a healthy relationship regardless of who, like those are the tenets of all of that. So I wouldn't say my female friends have really kind of played too much of a part in how I see women at large, because again, I see most people as people regardless of men or women, to be fair. Because I don't know, there seems to be this, oh, because she's a woman X or because he's a man X, and that doesn't really make sense. I think that's actually the barrier that as a collective community we're trying to kind of get over.
So you wouldn't say like in terms of the dynamics to your female friends and your male friends, there's a difference. Because one thing I can say, like I've noticed, okay, this might be a more minor thing, is like I like being on FaceTime a lot. A lot of my guy friends, we don't really call for an extended amount of time. Like my best friend Daniel, he really doesn't like phone calls. So him and I barely call. But like when I'm driving, when I'm like doing stuff that's hands free, a lot of the time I like being on the phone. And I've just found that there is a utility to having female friends. It seems like girls like being on FaceTime a lot. Correct me if I'm wrong. That's been my experience anyway.
Yeah. I do find like with my friends, like both male and female, like the same. We talk for loads, for hours, half an hour, 2 hours. Like it doesn't really change, to be honest. I think again, it's the way I've set up my friendship network, where it's like I don't really I don't really text people. I call you all the time. So any male or female person like in my life who doesn't like being called, like I just stop reaching out to them as much, because I prefer calls. Like I don't really do long text conversations. It's just a bit long, to be honest. So I just rather be on the phone. But I think again, a caveat I'm going to put in is because a lot of people don't really have either friends, male or female, from different like ethnic backgrounds and different like races, classes, all that kind of stuff. So I feel like that to me adds more context on how people behave, or like you can draw more understanding and experience from the differences in the different friends you have and the different places they're from, than them just being a female version of a female or a male, or you know what I mean? Like those things add more nuances. Because if you have a friend that's like, okay, cool, there, because I've had friends before that, because like they live in multiple countries at once, they have multiple relationships going, and they have multiple kind of like alternate lives. When I talk to them, the way they think of relationships is X, right? It's kind of like, oh, it's more or less a game, and then when they're tired of playing, they'll just settle down like with whoever is the number one draft pick at that time. Versus when I talk to people who like they friends I have that they don't really travel, they didn't really go out, they didn't really do all these things, it's like, oh, like their relationship is everything. It's like they treat that person like a king or like a queen. Like it's the context. I think socioeconomic and like exposure factors weigh in way more than them just being male or female.
Oh, yeah. All right.
So
I do want to.
with what you said.
Sorry, I was going to transition to the conversation, but you can ask a final question before I wrap this up on this specific aspect of.
Okay. I was just going to say, what kind of conversations do you tend to have with your female friends then? Like what kind of conversations on a general note?
Everything the same I'd have with a guy. I would call them and be like, oh, like I'm annoyed today, this has pissed me off, or I'm feeling good, or this is like making me anxious, or this or that, or this or that. Because again, I don't really, for me, like right at the start of this conversation, when you asked me, what are my what do I look for like in a partner per se, I said feeling comfortable. And like, we swiftly moved off from that. But like, again, I bring back to that. It's like, I don't really do well with hanging out or talking to anyone I'm not comfortable with. If I have to think about what I'm going to say or how you're going to receive it or stuff like that, I will not talk to you. Like, I only talk to people that I feel comfortable with, because it doesn't make sense to do otherwise. So like with my female friends, anything I'll talk to my male friends, I'll probably even rehash the conversation with them to get their take.
Makes sense. Femi, did you have a difference in that? Or is that what you asked? Or?
Oh yeah, no, I just wanted to gauge what you were saying, because obviously he mentioned that it didn't. Sorry if I'm paraphrasing, but you were saying that it didn't really add much to his life in the sense of the conversations he was having with his female friends,
right?
Because the way he sees it is like everyone is a person in general.
Oh, right.
So I was just trying to gain an understanding of what kind of conversations he was having.
Yeah. So that was a question for you then, in terms of like, what do you call it? Like, do you feel like there's a difference in the conversations you have with your male friends and your female friends? or are you just same as him?
Yeah, so this has been actually, it's been a conversation I've been having a lot with my male friends recently. That I feel like when I speak to a lot of guys, they either say one of two things: either they don't open up to anyone,
Right.
or they find it easier to open up to women.
Ah.
And obviously, that's why I asked Bissy that question, because I wanted to understand the kind of conversations that were being had. Because, as I said, a lot of guys agree that they find it easier to open up to women, and I guess that comes from, I guess, a lot of women are more emotionally mature regarding like, sensitivity. They know how to, acknowledge your feelings, validate them, or kind of comfort you verbally. So
I
yeah,
mean, not.
I
Generally
don't,
I
speaking,
don't know, bro.
not in my
that's
experience.
the
I'll be
people around
honest.
me,
Not
at
in my
least.
experience. I'll be
Yeah.
That's
honest.
the people around me, at least. That's the people
Yeah.
around me. So obviously, I can't speak for everyone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, but my question to you would be then, the guys that you do have in your life, do you have those conversations? And then, how does it play out? Because if you're a friend of mine and there's something that I think is important, because again, obviously, when you look at friendships in general, there's, like you mentioned, Femi, there's some friends you have for certain things and some friends you have for other things, right? But the friends
Yes.
in the category of like, okay, this is my actual friend and I talk to them and I like their insight. When you talk to
Yeah.
them about, say, things that are a bit more sensitive or things that like expose you a bit more, how do they react? And like based on their reactions, do you then kind of like recategorize them as a friend? Because I can say for myself, if there was
Yeah.
something that was like somewhat emotional to me and like I wanted to talk to a specific person about it, if they're just like, oh yeah, I'm not really trying to have that conversation, or like I don't care, then like it would immediately impact like how I see you. Like you drop
Of
down
course.
the list. I wouldn't really like chat. I wouldn't class you as like that kind of friend anymore. You might just go
Yeah.
back to being like, oh, if we're trying to turn up, I'll shout you, kind of thing.
Yeah. Yeah. Yes. To answer your question, yes, it does. It does kind of. I do have those friends that I can comfortably speak to as well. And I agree with you that it does reclassify them in my head based on their response. But this is what I'm saying. I feel like I have, as I mentioned before, like I have friends for different things. But then I also realized that my female friends are all like, I have majority of them I can speak to about anything, as opposed to my male friends. I've got different friendship groups. I've got my friendship groups from like church, the ones from secondary school. I got the ones from basketball, and they would all give me a different response regarding the same issue. And one thing I've realized about quite a few guys is that they don't. A lot of them tend to lack emotional maturity. So like the response to an issue sometimes is just like charge it, we keep it moving kind of thing, as opposed to actually trying to gain an understanding or really try to take in how this person is feeling.
Yeah, no, I agree. Someone was asking funny. T asked if we were talking about getting vasectomies. They were what? No.
You know what I mean? Like I don't. I see where she's coming from. To be fair, because she was asking about like marriage planning, all this kind of stuff. Like again,
Great.
you have to understand that like as
It's
guys, these
not
are
even a
topics
great
we don't.
question. It's a bit early. Like, what?
You know what I mean? Like some of the stuff you're on about, T, or question, or things that like as guys, the topic being like, what do guys actually talk about? We don't talk about these things.
No, to be fair, I
Like
did
not
say,
because
yeah, good
it's a
question.
not because it's a man or a woman on the other end of the conversation. It's because we actually just do not talk about. I can't remember the last time I've ever talked about family planning because it just doesn't occur to me that that's something I should talk about. Yeah, I'm here talking about finding a wife. Is the irony, right? Same to do with like marriage, where women have their list of the venue, the dress, the ring, the location, everything, and guys are like, oh yeah, like how much is the DJ? You know what I mean? Like completely.
That's a good
It
point.
just is what it is
It
sometimes.
seems like all of us want to get married, right? But again, at least you and I, Bissy, or even you and I, Danny, we've never really spoken about the specific logistics of any of that. We just know it's going to happen sometime in the future, and I guess you cross that bridge when you get there. Yeah, that's too fair. I laughed. That is an interesting question because I guess to answer your question, no. But maybe now you've asked, maybe now you've asked it. I'm gonna start asking like, how many kids do you want? Do you guys think about how many kids you want? Like, have you thought about that?
Yeah,
Wait,
yeah,
that is
definitely.
Daniel. Are you there? So let me just see if Daniel's there.
I mean, yeah, that's something I've thought about as well.
Really? Yeah, I guess generally
Yeah,
makes sense. How many kids do you want? Do you know?
2 to 3.
2 to 3.
But if I always say when I'm on dates, yeah, but when I'm on dates, I usually say like if I become a millionaire, I want like 10.
Why?
Well, because
Bro's on that Elon Musk,
I'll
Elon
have
Musk flex, like, bro.
In it.
yeah. I'll have a house. I'll have a housewife. My wife will be a housewife.
What?
She'll just
One
take
wife,
care of
10
me.
kids. Like, you know what I mean? It takes like 9 months to
Bro,
produce
wait,
one.
wait. Now
Why not? Why not? I got
I've got to
paid.
investigate this mentality, guys. Give me a few minutes just to ask that
If I'm a
question.
millionaire,
Yeah, but like,
if
if you're
I'm
a
a
millionaire, do you
millionaire,
acknowledge that you'd have to have kids from multiple women to get to 10, right? Or like, how's this gonna work? So
At
this
this
is
age,
bearing in
yeah.
mind that you're gonna get married. As you said, you could get married as late as 35, right? So say your wife is within somewhat of that range. So say she's 30.
wait, sorry. By the way, it's kind of like a joke. It was more like a joke.
Oh, well, explain
I
your
didn't
joke
mean
then.
like
Defend your joke, bro. What do you mean? You're not backing out now.
Bro said,
obviously I
actually,
don't.
I'm
Like obviously,
joking. I'm
me even
joking.
saying me becoming a millionaire is that's a bit
someone,
online.
someone called you
It's just a
Stephon
joke.
Diggs. I'm so dead.
It's just a joke to get the girl laughing. But no, I
Oh,
want like 2 to 3. That would be fine. But
wait. So
if I'm a millionaire, I would probably want more.
you want
Not
more?
necessarily 10, but more. Yeah, if
Oh,
I'm a millionaire,
But why though?
I feel
Like,
like
why would more kids? Why would you want more kids, regardless of how much money you have?
because I can afford them.
But why that you can afford it is not a reason why you want it. It's a reason why you can have it. Why do you want it?
Yeah, good point. No, I think the more the merrier.
First,
Fair enough.
Kids are good. They're a blessing. That the same reason why I want 2 is the same reason why I want 4. The more I can pass down more, more knowledge and
your legacy.
kids are a blessing. If you can
fair
if you
enough.
can handle them, I think kids are a blessing.
So what about that housewife element you mentioned? Would you actually want if you can afford to the extent you can afford it? Would you just want a girl that's like kind of stay at home?
Maybe working part time and then also looking after the kids in the house. Yeah,
Interesting.
possibly. But, I
Wow.
think these days women don't want to be a housewife, which is fine, which is cool. Yeah, that was also a joke as well.
You're a comedian, huh?
I'll jump into this, right? I'll jump into this, right? Because the whole idea of like say housewife or stuff like that, right, is it's actually very interesting of what the role they would play is, right? Because when I think of housewife, I think of a future. Because obviously, I grew up in Nigeria. We had house helps, we had gardeners, drivers, all that kind of stuff, right? And there is going to be a portion of my life where I do live in Nigeria, so I do expect to have all those things. So it's like it frees up the woman herself to to not having to do any of the physical manual stuff in terms of cleaning the house, at least housework. So it then becomes like, do you see her as like, this sounds mad, I'm going to disclaimer, as basically as like a vessel for passing down your, understanding
I think
and
that's a good
experience
question.
down to your kids, right? Because what actually is a housewife, especially in a situation, in a setting where it's like they don't have to take care of a lot of these mundane things that still need to be done, like cooking, cleaning, all that kind of stuff. Again, I grew up in Nigeria, so I did grow up in an environment where it's like my mom did not have to do any of that, right? So like I don't see like I need somebody to just clean the house, because obviously like
Right.
as an individual they're capable of way more than that. So like how do you actually see a housewife if you remove all the like say cleaning and cooking? Like what do you expect them to actually do?
That's a good question. Well, who would expect a housewife to do those things that you mentioned? The cooking, the cleaning. The housework is her work. If she's a housewife, she's taking care of the house. She's taking care of the kids. I guess if you have a maid, then yeah, good point. You wouldn't actually need them
That's
in
that.
the scenario that you mentioned.
Sorry, like Danny, you keep your volume. Do you want to get a bit closer to the audio or something? I think you keep like.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, that's better. That's better. It's interesting because I've known you that long, and I would never. Someone have asked me that question about you and said, "Could you imagine like Daniel's type being a housewife?" I don't know if I would have said
No, it's
yes.
not.
I know. Well, as in like
Yeah,
theoretically,
it's not. It's not.
even in a world where you had £1 billion or whatever, I wouldn't have theoretically thought that. That was just interesting that you were like, oh, if you could afford it, you would have that. Someone asked you, what do you want to pass down? Do you want a wife or a mummy? Wait, we'll get to that question.
These paper.
His paper. Daniel is very wealthy, by the way. He's not even joking.
Yeah.
He's not even joking.
No, I'm not.
Daniel's
No,
got money.
I'm not. No, if I'm a billionaire, millionaire, then I think the way you think about family and stuff like that will probably change. I think.
All right, sorry. Let me ask Femi the same question then. I know that the question was ages ago. What do you mean he's not? Why is your sister hating? Like what the hell? Femi, let me ask you the same question then. Have you thought a lot about like how many kids you want? I guess even your marriage, because someone was mentioning how men and women are raised so differently. I guess women are picking out the colors they want for their wedding and all that schemes and stuff like that. But let's just keep it to the kids first and the kind of setup you kind of want. You thought about that?
I mean, yeah, definitely. I think about that a lot. I mean, as I said from like earlier, I've always been like marriage driven in the sense of I'm only entering a relationship if I can see myself with that person in the long run.
Nice.
So yeah, I've definitely thought about kids. 3, 4 is the magic number. I grew up in I have 2 siblings, so there's 3 of us. I feel like it's just a good number. Yeah, so I've definitely thought about those things. I haven't thought as far as colors and all the little details, but I've definitely thought about like, okay, cool. Maybe I get into a relationship. Obviously, that's when now pressure starts building as well. That okay, cool. Aside from saving for this, and that, I also need to start saving for a wedding and stuff like that. So yeah, those are the thoughts that cross my mind a lot.
Nah, fair enough. Busy. What about you? Swing the question to you then. I know you answered it partly in terms of your upbringing and stuff like that.
Yeah, I'll say 3 kids adopt 1, so 4 in total.
Interesting.
See, and what? Adopted one?
Yeah, and then adopt 1.
Okay.
What's the motivation behind the adoption?
Yeah, because we adopted someone in my family, innit? So, like, it's just what I'm used to. Like, it gives an opportunity. Because, again, I could have a 4th kid, right? Or you could give an opportunity to someone to have a life, to really kind of make something and do something. It was almost like, it's like an alternative project as well. Whereas, like, obviously, my kids, I expect a lot from them. But then, this child who doesn't have anything, like, to also put them on the same wavelength, it's like, it's just... I had the experience with it growing up, so it just makes sense to me.
I shouldn't laugh, but you know why I'm laughing? My head, half of my head is memes. What? When you said that, like giving them an opportunity, it reminded me. Remember the Drewski meme, like who changed his broke nigga's life? I don't know why I thought about that, but that's what I could think of.
No, but it's true though. Like, if in essence, that's basically what it is.
No, that's crazy. Okay, I don't know what I thought. That's really bad, but I have too many memes in my head. So I'm the same as you guys, and like I guess and it's funny because we never spoken about that. Like I can't remember me and you, Bissy, or me and you, Danny, ever speaking about how many kids we want or anything like that. But I guess we do all think about that. And Femi mentioned like the kind of cost of it. Like if you're saving, like once you start getting into a relationship, you start thinking about the cost. Honestly, I'm at the stage now where I'm like, content just has to work out. Because I'm just like,
has to bang,
how are people doing this? Like, how are people doing this? Like, it's low. Even the marriage itself, like how expensive that alone is. It's just like, damn, how do people afford this stuff? And they start talking about having like kids and all the kind of things you want from them and stuff like that. Man, guys, look, tap the screen.
Do you guys believe you have like your kids and your family in the UK, or do you see yourselves moving to any other country?
I'm in the UK. That's a short answer.
And wait. Before guys answer, right? And on the back end of that, because I've actually had this conversation quite a few times, like you wanting to move to a different country, say you want to go back home to wherever you're from, or to another country, like I don't know, New York, Dubai, wherever. Is that something that would then have to be a deal? That would then be a deal breaker for whoever your partner is. Like, will you have that conversation that's like, look, this is what I want to do, and so either you're on board or we kind of call it off.
For me personally, I used to say that okay, UK is terrible, that I want to live somewhere else, but I haven't even traveled the world enough for me to even find out where else I want to live. That's fine, because I used to want to live in America, but now obviously we know what that's like. I grew up in Germany for the first part of my life, so I was there for 11 years, and then I moved to the UK. So I feel like experience in Germany, which is a very like huge place, streets are clean, you feel safe, all of those things. I still enjoy the UK more just because of the diversity here. So I wouldn't mind bringing up my kids here, but obviously wealth plays a part in it. I feel like you can essentially live anywhere as long as you're quite wealthy.
Yeah, makes sense. How about you, Daniel? What do you say?
Yeah, I agree. I've been to, but I've been to quite a few places, and I think London's the best city in the world. It's very well connected. There's lots to do, good opportunities. Yeah, it's true. If we hopefully, you know, we get wealthy and be in the nicer parts of London. But yeah, I think London. I like to stay in London. I'm a family in London, or maybe on the outskirts.
Yeah, I feel
But
like
definitely.
recently there's been a whole kind of crazy conversation around, oh my god, America's the land flowing with milk and honey, and Dubai is the next best thing, blah blah. But I think I'm the same as you guys. Like, I quite like the UK. I think all this kind of negatives that we hear about the UK, you talk about, the money and stuff. I'm pretty sure, apart from like in Europe, the UK pays the most. It's the best economy to like have the kind of jobs most of us have, all that kind of stuff. So other countries are hot and stuff, I guess, like temperature wise. But to me, it's a bit like people go on a holiday
Yeah,
and start tweaking. Like, it's a bit like a kid going to a candy shop and like, oh my god, I want to eat candy for the rest of my life. Be realistic.
Exactly.
Like, grow up. So that's how I see that conversation. But I do want to transition now to making male friends. And T, I'm gonna have you up in a minute. But again, I got to think about structure very carefully, because the idea for me having girls on stage is to kind of be like things that you wouldn't know about us as men, or you've wondered about, for you to ask that. So I don't want it to be a conversation around like again, it's very difficult to enforce our structures sometimes, but that's the kind of idea I'm kind of thinking of. So I'll give you a few minutes to kind of marinate why I asked that question. Like, if there are any, I guess, things you're curious about in terms of, I guess, male friendships, or like questions specifically for the guys based on anything they've said, opinions on any of the topics before. If you don't mind, play that little interview, not little, big interview role for us, because the way I think of it is like, as a girl, you have a different perspective. So a lot of the questions you ask will likely be questions that a lot of the girls in the chat are also thinking about, being curious on, that they don't know about us. So that could be a very useful way to kind of segue into that and bring them into our conversation, if that makes sense. But while you think about that, I'll let you marinate on that. I'm going to start with you, Daniel, in terms of making new male friends. I think BC and I became friends a few years ago. One of the friendships I'm very proud of making. But as you grow up, what I've noticed is like, and again, I want to overshare here a little bit, because I didn't go to university. When a lot of my friends that I was friends with in secondary college went off to university, I kind of, I struggled with like being lonely. And the instinct wasn't to try and make more male friends. It was just to date a lot more. So I started to use dating as a way to kind of mask that, where, you know, I'm lonely, I'm just gonna go and meet someone, go on the dating apps or wherever, and just, even if you're approaching people in person, you wouldn't really ordinarily like approach a guy. It's much easier to approach a girl. Even if like friendship is your main goal, to approach them, chat to them, it just always feels kind of easier. And that kind of became a blueprint for how I made a lot of female friends. I won't say I'm not proud of it. I'm proud of it. It is what it is. But like, that's something that got me reflecting on, like, as guys, as we grow up and stuff like that. I guess I'm curious to know, each of you, what's your approach? Even though two of you I'm already pretty close friends with, what's your approach to trying to make new friends? So I guess the first question would be like, are you? And again, Daniel, this question is for you. I'm going to start with. I'm going to ask the rest of you as well. So, are you interested in making more male friends? And then secondly, what would be your kind of approach if you are? So let's start with the first question.
Mm. Yeah, I think right now I'm quite content with my friends and the friends I have.
Bro said I'm good on that. I'm good.
Yeah. But I am open to making more friends, meeting friends. If someone is like minded, I'm happy. I'm not closed off, but yeah, I am very content. The friends I've made recently in the last couple of years, they've mainly been through chess.
Right.
So my
Shared
hobby,
interest.
I'm going chess club.
Yep.
Yeah, shared interest. I think that's probably the best way to make friends at this age is finding a hobby, and because you have that thing that you're both passionate about, and that you can talk about, bond over, and then it just goes from there. You end up talking about other things,
Nice. Yeah, true. Good
well,
point.
etc.
Makes sense. What about you, Femi? Same questions.
Am I open to it? Yeah, I'm always kind of open to it. How do I make the friends? I feel like it just happens naturally. Especially with everything that I do. Obviously, there's basketball. You meet people all the time. I also have a business where that involves essentially meeting people regularly. So naturally, I make friends through that. I'm not closed off to it pretty much.
But
Um,
would you say there's a difference between like, I know you mentioned basketball. There can be a thing where like
mhm,
you meet someone at basketball, become like your
mhm,
basketball guy. You guys go basketball together, but really and truly, you're not friends in the sense of like, when we talked about some of the more like quote unquote difficult topics we talked about today. You reach out to them and be like,
mhm.
"Oh, can I chat to you about that?" But when you see them, you're like, "Oh my god, it's so nice to see you," blah blah. But low key,
Yeah.
have you actually made friends like that level of depth, or is it been more like,
Mm, yeah. So that one is interesting. Yeah, because that's a good point because I've had quote unquote basketball friends where it's like, okay, we're teammates for the season, and and we're friends, but then once the season's over, that's kind of it. But then I partly play a part in that as well. So Emanuela's question actually plays into that because when it comes to maintaining friendships, it's a big struggle. I'm a terrible texter. Like I get overwhelmed when I look at my phone. So
you're
I'm
on
a phone
busy,
call person.
you're on busy, we get along.
I'm a phone call person and a FaceTime person, honestly. So I struggle to maintain that aspect, which is why I think it doesn't grow as much, but it's still always love when we see each other, kind of thing. So it's a good point. So it's more like a acquaintance slash friend kind of relationship.
What about you? Yeah, what about you, busy? Same question.
Yeah, similar answer. I think you guys will click if you click. If you don't, you don't. And
Yeah.
like, it just is what it is. To be fair, like, I expand my friendship group maybe like one or two people a year. But in terms of like trying to, maintain that friendship that Emanuela is talking about, it's like just being intentional, like setting motives. And you know what is a really big thing that I've realized a lot of people don't like doing is mixing their friends. But the only way to really kind of incorporate or solidify a new friend is to mix with your old friends to see how like that goes. Because even now, like how I met Ade was through a friend. How I met, a lot of my friends that I then, when I was back in the finance bro era, quarter zips, matcha, all of that. Like all the people I met through there that are still my friends now, I met them through other people introducing me to their friends. So I've never really understood this thing of people are like, oh yeah, I don't like to mix my friendship groups because, oh, what if it doesn't work out, or like da da da. Like, because if you do that, then it's going to be hard to integrate to like onboard new people into your life if they can't fit into the existing framework that you already have.
No, I completely agree with that. And I think I actually hear a lot of girls say that. I'm always surprised. I always kind of feel the same way you have. Like, oh, they were like, oh, I don't like mixing my friendship groups. I've always kind of joked that I feel like it's because they just want all the attention to themselves. That may or may not be true.
Probably.
But but the point you mentioned around, if you click, you click, and there's Emmanuel asked a question about how do you maintain friendships in adulthood. I do think that's a very good question. And again, I feel like Bissy and Daniel and I might have talked about that a bit, so I want to get your take on this, Femi, and then I'll jump to the other two. I think I think it was sometime last year, I realized, and again, I'll be honest, I want to overshare a little bit here. Like, when I thought about going out to do something, the first people I consciously thought about was girls. Like, if I want to go on this, like, go do this thing, I'll be like, which girl can I take to go do X? And that was like the default way of seeing it. But then I started to reflect and be like, actually, my friends are the people that I have, some of the best times with. Like, I remember, growing up, going to your boy's house for a FIFA tournament. What a time. Like, what a time. It's one of the best times of our lives. But as we kind of grew up, it kind of seems like, I don't know if that's maybe subconsciously, we all started to kind of, for lack of a better term, prioritize dating. And again, maybe this is just me. If I'm just talking about myself, fair enough, innit? But you guys see your friends at like, birthdays or, specific celebrations like that. But there doesn't seem to be a conscious effort to kind of go do stuff in the same way. And you got me thinking, like, I wonder if that's the reason why, maybe it is more difficult, because I do think it requires a special effort. Like, when Bissy and I became friends, initially it was kind of like we'd go to motives together. But it did. There was a time where I think he and I had this specific conversation, and we started to consciously be like, let's go do X, let's go do Y. And I probably wonder, like, maybe it's no coincidence that we are as close as we are now because we did go do those things. And trying to like reframe your priority people, which is like, if I want to go do this, actually, should I think about doing it with my guy friend first? But that's something I'll hold my hand up and say again. It wasn't as natural for me a few years ago, whereas now I consciously, actively think about, we haven't done something in a while, let's go do something, because that's kind of how we keep that fire burning. What would you say to that?
Wait, can I jump in on this one?
Yeah,
Yeah,
go. Wait,
I
go.
think, and I'll be honest, it's just to do with bread, because like if it's something that you want to do that is not necessarily costly, but like takes some form of an expense, people prefer to do it with in a dating setting, because obviously it's like a means to an end as well. So it's like I want to do this thing, but like da 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 da. So I'll take somebody on a date to go do it. Like that's how I see it, right? As opposed to if it's something that is just out of interest, that's when it's easier to shout out your friends to go to that thing and like just go check it out. Like
But it's
say,
cheaper to go with your friend because they're gonna pay for themselves. You know, we know girls don't be paying. I don't want to go into that conversation, but we
yeah,
know what they
it's
are.
true, it's true, it's true. It's true, but say like this, right? Like, I'll put it this way. Say that there's a really nice restaurant that you want to check out. You're more likely to invite a girl on a date to go to that restaurant rather than a guy. Just maybe
Why?
because of the nature of because of the nature of what it is. Because obviously it's like a restaurant, chilling, eating. That's more of like a date setting or date situation, right? As opposed to like say for us two now, when they're like, okay, well we're bored, let's just go play table tennis, let's play football, let's even with some of my friends,
Oh,
we used to
activity
go to
stuff.
property showings
Right.
and stuff like that, like just to see what it's like. Like we went to this thing, I think it was earlier in the year. It was like these guys from Dubai were doing like a massive property expo, like they're doing new developments. Each of the like the cheapest two bed was like 2 point something mil kind of thing. But we got suited and booted and went just for the experience, because it's something to like to laugh about with the guys in it, or like, or so we can have a bit more exposure to that side of what people got going on. I feel like if it's something that's like that can overlap in a dating context, you're more likely to be like, I'll take a girl to do that. But if it's something that's just like just fun and you just want to do, then it's like you're more likely to go with your friends.
Is that okay? Maybe I should ask Femi in this way then. Femi, do you think that's a problem though? Like, because to me, I feel like it's a mindset thing as opposed to like it's not, it's subconscious. But I don't know. Okay, let me just ask you: do you think that's a problem, or do you? And again, you can give me your general answer to the whole thing specifically.
Yeah. As I've grown older, I'll say yes. It's a bit of a problem because not everything has to be a date. Like you can enjoy things with your male friends just as much as well. So it doesn't necessarily have to be in a date setting.
No, I agree with that. I agree, and I think even the stuff about like basically, it's a fair point you make around the different things. But I feel like if you have enough friends, like you can always find a friend that will want to do X. Like, and again, once you set it as like a thing that you do, like once it becomes a natural culture, like you and I have been to like table tennis, we've done a bunch of stuff together. We've even like the other day we went to like a spa thing. It wasn't getting rubbed down or anything, but he just went swimming and like crap food after and stuff like that. Like once it becomes more of a culture in your friendship, it becomes easier. Like again, I might call out Daniel here a little bit. This guy loves going on dates. But it's not like, and I feel like if there was a conscious effort of like in the same way, like because again, apart from I don't know, it's not like you're having sex with him on a date, but whatever it is you get on a date in terms of like a you know enjoyment, you can probably enjoy that with a guy. Again, I'm not salty about this, Danny. I'm not complaining. I'm not like, why will you see me too? But I'm just making the point that generally speaking, like we can probably adjust our mindset to kind of like again prioritize like in the first instance, like can I go enjoy this with my guy friend? I feel like that will be overall more positive because funny enough, in as much as women always talk about like decent to men, you guys will be surprised. Men center women more than women center men. That's just a fact. Like women make the world go round for us. They're the center of our universe. And I think that's.
I don't know about all that.
Okay, well, you can deny it on live if you want, whatever. But I feel like we've had conversations a lot, around. We joke about it sometimes, but like there should be a reframing that goes on where. Even on a small instance, right? I'm going a tiny bit of a tangent here. Like I've always said, for example, when you go to motives and stuff, like as a guy, low key, yes, you're going there with your friends, but you're going there to move to girls. Now, I'm sure some girls go there because like there's gonna be male attention, but you can see that they don't care about us and deep us in the same way we're deep in them like that. Again, we're all single, so maybe that's also a factor. But like, I like the fact that women can just be like, we're going to this thing to have fun and have a good time, and like, if men chat to us, yeah, we'll enjoy it or whatever. But really and truly, so we don't care. Whereas it seems like for us, it's more like, yeah, if you go to a motive and like you didn't chat to no girl, or get no details, you're gonna be like, yeah, that was a bit shit. That's just how that's a fact. Is that problematic? I think a tiny bit. Is there a link to what I'm saying now? I think so as well. I think they can draw a line between that kind of thing and you then having a situation where, when it comes to making new male friends, like a lot of us are, dating, I don't know how active, whatever, and people are doing that actively, like, is also a conscious effort in doing that. So there's nothing wrong with, like, not saying anything there's anything wrong with it, but in the same way you're making that effort into, like, trying to date, trying to, do all that kind of stuff, if you also think about, like, am I putting in the same effort to solidify my friendships, because that's also a very beneficial thing. And let's be honest, we have a lot of fun together. So that's something that I think requires some thinking and thought. But in terms of trying to make new male friends, Daniel, you said you're good with what you got at the moment. Bissy, you said you're open to it, but if you click, you click. Femi, you also said you're kind of open to it, but like whatever happens. Is that kind of what you're saying? You're not really like out there trying to, because there's a level of intentionality you can have around it, right? Like if you're intentional and conscious around that, it's probably not maybe the hardest thing to do, but it seems really hard right now. Which is the kind of point I'm getting at. Like generally speaking, if you speak to guys about what's it like making making guy friends, a lot of guys will say like it's actually quite difficult because there's a weird dynamic. Even when BC and I became friends, there's like an inflection point where it can kind of go either way. We can become like the kind of people where we just kind of go out, shout at each other, when we want to go out or whatever. But there has to be some kind of level of intentional effort where it starts to become a point of like we're actually friendly to the point that we can just call and just chat about whatever, Whereas I have some friends now, although I say that now, Daniel and I are best friends, and when I call him, he's always kind of asking me, "Why are you calling me?" so maybe there's a difference there. But yeah, sorry, Femi, that was a long question, but does that kind of make sense what I'm asking? If it doesn't, let me know.
Yeah, I'm gonna need a quick rundown on what the question is.
Okay, wait. Maybe that was a long thing. Let me focus on Emmanuel's question. Do you find it easier to make male friends or female friends? Who wants to start? Daniel, do you want to start? You're top of the screen. You can start.
Female friends. I don't think I've made any new female friends
Really?
since college. Unless, actually, no. Only from dating, and then you just end up being friends.
Yeah,
But it's
that
mainly,
counts.
yeah, but there's not been many. I've mainly made male friends at chess.
Interesting.
I'd say it's easy to make that. But yeah, I think I've mainly made male friends.
Oh.
Yeah, for sure. I haven't made too many female
That's a
friends
pipeline I've heard
in the
about.
last 10 years.
Oh, okay. What do you call it? Bissy, what about you? Easier to make male friends or female friends?
I would say it's definitely easier to make male because again, it's like we have or tend to have more things in common or more things that we like that we'd be interested in as opposed to the opposite gender. Because if I was to be like, oh, like, because I made friends like because I wanted to run like a 5K, and then I post on my story like, oh, who's down to like come to this place to do like a 5K run or whatever. Then someone's like, yeah, fuck it, let's do it. And then you end up like talking to them, hanging out with them, because again, like I'm more focused on not focused, but more centered around like active stuff and things that often require a bit of sweat in it. Right. So it just ends up being that it's easier to get along with guys.
How about you, Femi? Easier to make.
For me, at first I was going to say both are kind of similar, but when I thought about it deeper, it's easier to make male friendships for me, just because the lines are a bit blurred at the beginning of when I'm making a female friend. So
some people might say that's the fun of it. Some people might say that. Not me though. Well, some people say that.
Not you though.
Not me though.
Not you though. Alright, cool. Yeah. But yeah, that grey area at the beginning is a bit techie because, yeah, like there's been times I've made a friend and I'm just like, oh, you're cool people to be around, but on their side they have a whole different mentality towards the friendship. Well, I say that word loosely, so I think that's why I would say it's easier to make male friends. Male friends, you can see someone be like, yo. You could be in the gym, like, yo, what this workout? What are you saying? This is and that. They're spotting you. Next thing you know, you're talking point of interest. Suddenly, they're your friend in a week's time.
So I feel like
to be fair, though, actually, it's quite interesting.
Sorry, Bissy, I'll let you go first, and then I'll see what I'll say.
I was going to say, like, it's interesting you say that because I agree. to that to a certain extent, because if you want to take a step back and kind of look at the parameters, like where your last female friend, where did she come from? Like what was your relationship to her? Because I do feel like for me it's easier to have female friends when it's like those people tend to be either friends of friends or somebody that's kind of like an already immediate no-go. So it's like you don't need to even think about where the lines are, because they're quite self-evident. So you could be friends with somebody like one of your friend's sisters, or like if somebody that you met at a motive that knows X, Y, or Z people. So it's like it's not something you're trying to really get into too tough. But when it comes to like guys, it's like you can just meet some random guy off the street and now eventually you're boys. You know what I mean? Because there's no kind of ambiguity in that sense. So I do think like if you look at where you meet, say your last female friend, wherever you met them, like there'll be a lot more context as to why it ended up that way compared to like whichever your last male friend was.
Yeah, I mean, I'm actually surprised all of you are saying that. Like I'll be honest, but I feel like it's much easier to make female friends. Just and it's funny you guys are talking about the boundaries and stuff. I feel like when you meet a new guy, or or even or girl, if you meet two new people, I feel like when it comes to guys, if I'm trying to like talk to a guy and develop a relationship, it always feels like what feels appropriate to be saying almost. I don't know how to word that, but I just felt like if I meet a new guy, basically, for example, the way you develop a friendship, to me anyway, is like you kind of talk regularly and often. But I'm not going to be going like having like loads of back and forth conversations with a guy. Guys just don't seem to do that, and it's not like we're just going to start calling out of nowhere and start talking. Whereas you can easily do that with a girl. And again, you mentioned like the lines are blurred. Maybe that's why. Like sometimes there's an attraction there, and it just feels easier to talk to them. And next thing you know, you've kind of settled into a friendship where it wasn't really stayed where it was going to be at the start, but now it's a friendship, and that's fine. Because again, you can't just be like, oh, let's just talk about X, Y, and Z. Whereas even I remember like when you and I became friends, basically, I think it was like we went to quite a few motives. Then maybe we might call to debrief the motive. Then you might just be like, well, I'm going to this other thing. Then it was like a slower process, like that for sure. Like if I compare to like when I met a girl, if I met a girl on the same day I met you, and I was like, I want to be friends with her, it would have been much faster. So I'm actually like, again, maybe that's just difference of experiences we have. But I'm a bit surprised that you were saying male friendships are easier, because for me, female friendships are way easier.
Because you enjoy the thrill.
Nah, they enjoy the thrill. No, you're right. There is a fun in that. I'll be honest. There is a, what do you call it? Like there is, and again, it's almost like the kind of things I would share almost more early with a girl I might not share with a guy, just because like it's almost like I don't know you like that. That's kind of how it is. Like it's a bit like, imagine this here. Let's say you're at a motive, and like there's like a group of like 3-4 girls, and they were chatting. You can just go in there and just be like, oh, what are you girls chatting about? Oh, you chatting about me? Ha ha ha, blah 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 blah. Next thing you have a conversation with them. You can't do the same with guys. It's kind of like, I'm not saying the same line or whatever, but if there's like guys at a motive or whatever, how many times have you guys just having a random convo with them, like just like, oh, what's going on, blah blah, etc. Not really, because you might be like, oh yeah, you look whatever, just give a little head nod, look at each other, and just kind of walk off. Whereas I can do that with a girl, like a group of girls. It's 4 girls, 5 girls. Doesn't mean I'm trying to them in any serious way. It's just because I'm a guy, they're girls. It's easier. And they're trying to do a picture. I can even jump in and just, they wouldn't really care about that. Imagine if guys are trying to take a picture, or you can even be like a little banter stuff, or this guy's just mad fun. Imagine if guys are trying to take a picture and you just go in there and try to like photobomb them. Bro, like be normal. Like that wouldn't really work. And so to me, all those things that just make it easier. Do men intentionally try and make friends with women, or do they fall into them? I think both happens for sure. Like, I've made friends where like it's just been like, again, we just talk easy. Like, let's say, I don't know, I go to badminton, for example. I've met quite a few people from there, and it's kind of like, I don't know, you have shared interests or whatever, but for whatever reason, you just talk a lot. And next thing you know, it's like, you just start becoming, really good friends. I think there's a fair question in there where, like, sometimes I'll be honest, like, if there's an attraction, it might be an element of like, oh, I wonder if it could be this, and maybe sometimes our discipline could do with better work there. But I think, generally speaking, even when I've met people that are really cool from badminton or wherever, I like them as like they're really cool people. But it's almost like I wouldn't really ever really want to when's the natural time to want to chat to them? Like to me, I feel like I'm surprised again you guys aren't struggling with that, because I feel like that's something I struggle with quite a bit, to be honest. Even if I was gonna try and make a new male friend now, I promise you the guy's approach is gonna be kind of like, initially anyway, like, why is this guy chatting to me so much? Like, is there something you want? But how would the other guys answer this? Fifi asked a question. Are
They're talking about actively, do you actively pursue female friends
Oh, do you?
or not?
Is that for me or is that for you?
Oh, that was the question they're asking.
Oh, okay. I guess you can start. Monica, you said things only works if you're attractive. Well, that's what I'm gonna do.
Yeah, so it works, isn't it?
That's right, to be fair.
Yeah, I don't know. The answer to that question is like, I guess I feel like for me, I haven't actively gone out to like make friends like for a long time. It just ends up being like, oh, when you go to places or do things or meet people and they're with the other people, and then like you build friendships from that. Like I haven't been in like a pursuit of a friend to add to my catalog. So both male or female is the same. It's like you just meet people wherever. So you go to what you're doing and do what you're doing, and then you meet people there. And then if they're cool, then you keep talking to them. If they're not, then you keep it stepping.
Fair enough. What about you, Femi?
I think she said the question was, are your boundaries the same?
Oh,
Is that the question you're referring
lol.
to?
Sorry, I think
No, that was a different question. That came
this was
after.
asking a different question. My bad. Wait, okay.
The question that
what was
I
your
was
boundaries
answering was whether or not you actively make female friends.
That's actually a good
Was
question. Do you actively try to make female friends, Femi?
not really, no. I think I fall into it. I'll be so real.
Not really. I'm good on that.
I fall into it
definitely.
also. I'll be so real. Like mutual friends, and then you kind of just get along with them. But then that's the same thing with my male friendships as well. Like I don't actively try to. I feel like I have a lot of friends already. That's kind of hard to balance. So you just kind of fall into it, I guess. Like whoever you really click with.
I've got no time. Like, sorry, I'm out of
This
slots.
shit, bro.
No friendship
I
slots.
don't have the capacity. Yeah.
All right. Someone said, Emmanuel said, do you consider yourself a good friend? Good friend, and do guys have conversations about their friendships? Well, I guess you're doing it now, but I guess is someone going to consider themselves a bad friend? Do you guys think about any areas of improvement you could make? Let me start with you, Daniel. Do you consider yourself a good friend? And if there's any improvements you think you could make, could you let us know? Brandon said the friend zone's a cruel place. What's going on, Brandon?
Yeah, he's been going through a lot.
The crew. Daniel, are you there?
Yeah, Brandon, he's like a data scientist, by the way. So there's probably not explain that.
He's
But anyways,
crunching numbers.
yeah, exactly. Am I a good friend? I would like to think so. Whenever my friends need a favor, I'm there. Whenever my friends call, I'll pick up. Right, Addy?
I don't know about that one. I'm not gonna lie. I don't know about that one.
Nah, come on, bro. I've been improving on that.
This guy
No?
always picks up the second time, not the first time.
Yeah.
B&B specialist.
I'm there for my friends after all. And do anything I need to improve on. Yeah, maybe answering the calls better. Replying on time. My replies are quite slow in general. I think one of us said that when they see messages, they get a bit like anxious. So one of us said that. I'm a bit of the same as well. Sometimes when I see, especially when it's like words as well, it's just like whoa. But I'll say overall I'm a good friend. I'm my brother's keeper. Is that the saying?
Yeah. That's how it goes. That's how it goes. What about you, Bissy? Would you consider yourself a good friend? And what are the areas of improvement?
I'll say I'm alright. I think I'll say
All right.
to the friends I do have, I would say I'm still fairly consistent, even like for a long time. I'm fairly consistent with them. Yeah, I think being a good friend really kind of is for the other person to answer, because people don't tend
True.
to look at themselves in negative lights, like even if they're doing the wrong thing. I'll say the only thing I want to do, and I'm going to do a lot more of in 2026, is just like kind of hosting more and setting up more situations where like I can bring my friends together. Because I think it's all good and all, like talking to people, like calling them, all that kind of stuff, where it's like I kind of exist on like I kind of need to see my friends after like say 1 or 2 weeks, then it's like I haven't seen you in ages. It's like let's just do something. So that's more what I want to do. I think in terms of texting them more, calling them more, stuff like that. Like it doesn't really change the status quo. It doesn't really change too much, except obviously if they're going through some stuff and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, just want to have more memories in the bank in general.
Nice. How about you, Femi?
Yeah, I'll say I'm a good friend, but one thing I can definitely improve on is just like management of my friendships. Because all my friends have different needs in it. So when it comes to guys, we're pretty much low maintenance. We could talk today and then not talk for like a week or two and we'll be fine. Whereas when it comes to like my close female friends, it's a bit different. So that one is harder to maintain, especially when I now get into a relationship or I'm dating. It's harder to balance my time between everything that I'm doing. So I'll definitely say that's a improvement point for me in terms of like when I'm dating, still being able to prioritize my friendships.
Well, excellent points. I think nice. Okay, Danny says he's gonna jump off. Thank you for joining, bro. Really appreciate you being here. Your friendship seems so straightforward. I think maybe we just give
Hello,
everyone.
Daniel. Likes in the chat for Daniel.
Nice. See you later, bro.
Yeah, likes in the chat for me, y'all. Peace.
Appreciate
Yeah,
it.
come on, let's get to 15K.
Yeah, it's been on
Let's
14K.
have Daniel, man.
14K for a while. What's going on? I think
Yeah, people they're getting tired, man. Wake up.
it's been 3 hours. To be fair, I can't believe I'm gonna go to the last question in a minute and wrap up hopefully in about 15 minutes or so. I think all those are great points. I think trying to understand your friend. When Topper said about male friendship seems so straightforward. I mean, it seems like it can be because it almost feels like even when you're kind of dropping the ball, the other person's likely doing it too, and so it almost seems like there's no expectation almost. It's like whatever happens. Which we could probably do a better job on. But I think a lot of those things, like when I realized, for example, about the whole point about not consciously making effort to do X to do Y, I think I remember even it was only 2 years ago that Daniel and I started the tradition, and it's gonna sound so silly, of giving each other gifts for our birthdays. I've known Daniel the longest out of any of my friendships. We've known each other 12 years now, and it was only like 2 years ago that we were like, actually, for your birthday, instead of just only sending you a message, let me just actually give you something. Because like if I'm going to like a girl's birthday party or whatever, I'll just get flowers, etc. Why don't I? Daniel's my best friend. Why would I not get him anything? Like that seems like the bare minimum I can do. I can't spare 20, 30, maybe £50 to get him something. Like that's ridiculous. Again, a lot of guys probably don't give each other gifts for their birthdays. That's something like, and they probably don't think like, oh, that's really bad, whatever. They're just like, that's calm, bro. Just show up to the event I'm having, then that's cool. But again, if you want to see that kind of level of, I guess dedication or whatever in your friendship, it's not just about saying, it's about you doing it first, set the example, and then the other person kind of like follows suit and then realize that actually, you know what, this does improve the quality of the friendship. And I think it's no coincidence that I think, again, we've kind of become even more and more closer. So like something someone asked earlier about how you invest in the friendship and stuff like that. There's an emotional element to that, yes, but there's also like, I guess that comes with the emotional, is like reflecting on the ways in which you could be even better friends, and then you taking the lead in like actually doing that. So if it's like we need to be going out more often, yeah, actually start planning stuff. And, initially it might be a bit challenging, but once the other person sees that effort and you guys are having a good time, yeah, if you have a good time, why wouldn't you want to have a good time again? All those things are things that are very important overall. So going on to the last question now, in terms of the most significant thing you've learned from friendships, I feel like I mentioned earlier about how, to me, sociologically speaking, nice word, friendships are the places that influence us a lot and shape our personality the most, personality, preferences, interests, etc. So a bit of a loaded, heavy question, but if I start with you, Femi, what would you say is the most significant thing you've learned from your friendships, or maybe male friendships, because we're talking about male friendships, so we can generalize it if you want.
That is a tough question. Yeah, no.
All right, maybe I should go first, and if I go first, then you guys can be inspired.
Please.
All right. I think the most significant thing I've learned from my real friends, which is not like a one learning point, is actually just it shaped a big part of what I like. So I mentioned earlier about my romantic interest, curiosity being my number one expectation from people, friends, and also romantic interest came from my friendship with Daniel. The way we've both grown over the past 12 years, we've shaped each other's political interests, we've shaped each other's romantic interests. We talk about everything.
Ooh.
And the more I reflected on that, the more I'm like, that's actually a great way to live life generally. Also, like, it kind of helped me be more like, if you want to say, like laid back. Like I used to be more, I'm quite an intense person, but Daniel's quite a chill person. He's a chill guy, as the meme goes. So I've kind of learned from that. And so a significant aspect of what I like in other people, we've kind of developed that together. So I guess curiosity is one specific thing in that instance, which is a huge thing for me, because there's no way, like, if I'm thinking, like, as I'm trying to meet someone and date them, if we don't talk in the same way Daniel and I talk, obviously it takes time to build that, but I just feel like it's not going to work, because it really is that deep. And like, that's something that's a significant part of who I am now. So I have Daniel to thank for that. Thank you, Daniel. Shout out to you, bro. And that's something I would say is like a very significant thing I've kind of picked up from that. That kind of open communication, being curious, taking an active interest in the other person.
You know what? Yes, I agree. Actually, yes, I'll say that's one of the main things I learned as well. Standards. One thing, like going back to the topic I spoke about earlier about like what you, I guess, should settle for in a romantic relationship, or I guess when you don't want to settle, is like thinking about, oh, my friends do this for me on a daily basis, as in they show interest. I do so many things. All my friends are always showing interest, showing support, showing love. If I don't get that in my romantic relationship, then it helps me set my standards for what I'm looking for in a relationship. So I'll say that's definitely one of the most important things I've learned from my friendships around me, for sure.
That's amazing, man. That's amazing. Yeah, basically, what about you?
We do some cool shit, bro. So that's really what matters at the end of the day.
Fair enough.
Yeah, I mean, like with my guys, I have like some of the best memories of like places I've been, things I've done, and how situations have transpired. So that's what it's all about, really.
No, you're right. And I think again that even forms to me part of that standard setting, which is like when you start to reflect on the kind of people you're bringing into your life, whether it's friendships or usually dating wise. A friendship is a good way to have a barometer of like, this is a friendship I really enjoy and cherish and stuff. Are they bringing me that same level of value? Because like your friendships are not one way, right? And so that's something we spoke about earlier, where a lot of guys, you don't really think about what you want and what kind of things you also need from a girl, stuff like that. So when you have great friendships, are you able to lean on and be like, low key, I actually like the fact that my friends and I do this or do that. Why am I not really getting this from this person? Especially on an emotional level, which I think is even more important. I think those are all very good things. Emanuela asked a question. She said we're closing, but she wants to ask a question around the red flags in the male friendships of meeting someone new.
Like that question.
Oh, you have a red flag? You have something to share on this? I hadn't thought about red
flags. Yeah, definitely.
Oh, please go on.
Red flags. Because I never thought about it in the sense of the way the question was formed, but her asking actually triggered that thought.
Oh, nice.
Red flags for me is basically when I meet a guy that doesn't align with what doesn't align with the same values as I have to an extent. So if I meet a guy and he's talking about, I don't know, wanting to cheat or something like that, things like that, like just the way they speak kind of tells me exactly what they're on. And to me, I'm just like, all right, cool. So I'm just in a cutscene that I can't skip right now. The minute this conversation is over, you're just like, yeah, like that's it. We're not going to speak again because you've already told me enough by the way you speak. And that's a red flag to me.
Yeah, but aren't you worried of just creating an echo chamber, right? Because I have friends that cheat. I wouldn't cheat, but like that's their minute.
I was about to say, Bissy. Girls are going, oh my god, oh the comments are about to blow up.
What do you mean, bro? Like, people been cheating is their thing. Like, if that's what they want to do, that.
Yeah, but see, that stuff I don't condone. Like, I really don't mess with that.
Yeah, but okay, so my question is, how much of of someone's personal life and what they do in their own matters, how deep are you gonna reach for its impact on whether or not you can be friends?
So if you're my friend, naturally, I'm gonna give you advice and I'm gonna expect you to do the same. I would want the best for you. Yeah. If I know somebody to be a serial cheater, I just can't, like, it will give me headache. And I know it's their headache to deal with, but it will also give me headache because I don't, as I said before, like, I think about other people's emotions a lot. So just knowing that I'm friends with someone who does that openly to others, and that's just who they are, it's just not my type of thing. So I'd rather not be their friend, if that makes sense. Keep them at an arm's length.
Wow.
I don't know. I see where you're coming from. I don't necessarily agree with it because again, you kind of get to a point where it's like, okay, so at what point is like, if somebody doesn't take your advice, right, that they're then like, you know, an enemy of the state, you know, because again, you can't control people. Some people are going to make stupid decisions, and it is just what it is. They're going to live
Of
with the
course.
consequences. So like when it comes to like, say specifically the whole cheating thing, is like, I know that there's consequences to the action that they're taking, and if they want to take that, that's completely fine. But I can still be friends with them because like we can have a friendship based on like a different mutual connection rather than something that they do that has no impact on me.
But see, I was about to throw that question back at you then. So how like what value do they bring to your life for you to want to keep them around in the first place?
Yeah, but when you start going into the value conversation, like 9 times out of 10, somebody that makes you laugh when you're around them is probably all that they've ever given you, you know? Like, what has somebody actually, like, if you look at your male friendships, like, what did they actually, or any friendships, what did they actually give you? They've never helped you pay rent. They've never, you know, bought you a car. They haven't done any of this stuff. When you look at value, it's like, do you make me happy? Yes or no?
Those are materialistic things.
Yeah, but then that's what I'm saying. When you get down to the emotional side, it's like, do you feel good when you talk to them? Do you enjoy being in their presence? Like, other than say outside of those two things I've just mentioned, yeah, and in a sense, like, you know, they've taught you a couple of things or maybe things you don't understand. Outside of say those three facets, what else actually is there in a relationship or a friendship?
I mean, yeah, like the value of wisdom. They bring so many different things, like friends that pray for you, friends that are there when you need them. I don't know.
But I feel like Busy's point.
Yeah,
is
well,
that
my point is there's not really a lot.
Cheater. And like those
Yeah,
things
that's what I'm saying. They can do. They bro, like people that go to church. They bro. The reason they go in church is to pray for their next sin. You know what I'm saying? It's just what
That
it
was
is.
a church goes in the chat, bro. Be careful. Wait, so there was some questions for you, Busy, actually. So like, well, Topi and Emmanuel, I want to ask about like the element of like. If
What do you mean? So like, so I'm
gonna.
gonna. So don't worry. I'll read the chat. How? What do you mean by how can they be loyal to me? What does that actually mean? Like, you know what I mean? I'm not. What are they gonna do? Are they gonna go like, oh, let me link up with these ops? Like, what does that even mean in reality? Right? We're not at the stage, because I'm being realistic to the time. We're not at the stage where it's like anybody's loyalty in terms of a friend needs to be tested, and at any point in which it's tested and they failed, then they're not going to be a friend. How many people, like even tops that you know yourself, that was a good friend to you at some point, and then all of a sudden they just backstabbed you? You know, they didn't have to be a cheat to do that, did they? Like these things just happen.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, but then it's a question of character, isn't it? Like, it's just a question of character. A person who's cheating, you can actually say they may not have good character. They're a person who lies and does whatever they want without considering other people's feelings. So they might come a situation that involves you where it's actually important. What they need, whatever decision they need to make, is actually important to you, but they just decide to not consider your feelings.
Okay, so I'll answer. Well, I'll respond to that with a question. So, do you have any friends that have bad financial, habits?
Yes.
Okay, so why are they your friend? Because that's not a good character of somebody that you should have in your life if they make poor financial decisions. Because at some point, they could then tend to rely on you for support unnecessarily because they made bad decisions, right?
Mm-hmm.
So why do you have them around?
But that's different, because I'm not going to marry my friend if they make poor financial decisions. It's ultimately that's not something that's going to affect me.
Yeah, but this is male friendships. I'm not going to marry a man, am I?
No, but see, that's not the same.
Why is it not the same?
It's not the same.
Why is it not the same?
With the thing with the money, making bad financial decisions, it might mean that they always need help bailing out, and then it will get to a point where it's actually like, I don't think I can be your friend anymore because you're too expensive. You're always getting us into this sort. Then you might actually decide to cut off the friendship because of that. So it can actually get to a point where you're like, do you know what, enough is enough. I don't want to do this with that person anymore.
Yeah, but to Busy's point, even if you would feel that you would do that, like if anything, the cheating one is even less of a hassle because it's never really gonna.
It literally doesn't impact you at all.
Like it's always gonna be their problem to deal with. So why would you? Again, I'm not gonna agree.
Do you know, I don't want to keep like adding. I get what you guys mean, but I don't want to keep adding scenarios. But what if it gets to a point where they're now involving you in their lies and it's now getting you in trouble?
Just say no. Like, I don't understand.
You're already involved. There's actually been a situation with a girl that I know. They already involved the friend in their lies, and the friend didn't like it, and because of that, it blew up their friendship, and they're no longer friends. So things like this, we don't think it's a big deal, but it can eventually be a very big deal.
No,
No, no, I
but
think
quickly
it's
add on to
I
what
think
Tope
it's
is
a big
saying.
deal. It just doesn't affect me.
I feel
Like
like
that's your deal.
Can I quickly add on to
different,
what
though.
Tope is saying?
Yeah, go
Because
on, yeah, go on.
a financial burden is different to someone who's burdening other people's emotions. I think that's the big difference that we're talking about. Because one is just illiterate with money. The other one is essentially going out their way to emotionally impact other people. So they're quote unquote a bad person.
Yeah, but
Is that's why it's
general
not the
point
same to
being
me.
made here is still about like there is a there's a world in which for you guys the cheating is like a moral, I don't know, abomination or whatever, but you still kind of hard to articulate in relation to the other person. Again, I understand it theoretically, but it still seems like it's not really clear exactly what the rationale is. I suppose if you're talking about, for example, like there's a criminal somewhere, like, you can see why you wouldn't be friends with someone that's a criminal because, I don't know, that's just a bad person. But are you saying like the cheating is kind of like not similar to being a criminal, but you get the idea, like it's the same level of badness in the sense of like this person's bad enough, quote unquote, as a person where I wouldn't want to be friends with him. Is that what you're saying?
Essentially, yeah. Like I see that person almost as a bad person, essentially, just because
Right.
I wouldn't see them as a bad person. I'll say they make terrible decisions, but they wouldn't be my closest friend if they're constantly doing that because it's no longer a bad decision.
Oh,
Yeah,
constantly
you're
is an
essentially
interesting
just
word though, Tope. Have you ever had any friends that cheated?
not constantly, no.
Oh,
they have
but they have.
cheated, right?
Oh, whoa.
Yeah, there we go.
but
There we
that was
go.
the conversation at the start anyway. I said
Okay,
like
yeah,
the
continue.
constant was a given in the sense of like constant is not it's not a one time thing. Constant, as in you're
So
constantly
No, but
making
okay.
that
So,
choice.
but then when you talk about consistency, then you have to, kind of outline frequency. How frequent is too frequent? If somebody cheats once this year and once next year, that's still constantly, right?
In the space of 10 years.
How many people do you know for 10 years? Like, let's be real. You know what I mean? And also, sorry, just while I'm on the floor to answer Emmanuel's comment about does it not scare me to be around somebody who can cheat and lie to someone's face every day? You have to be realistic about the level of conversation you have in regards to their cheating, because if say a friend of mine like actually cheats, maybe say once, twice, or three times a year, because it's not going to be like an everyday thing. I'm just saying I don't talk to them about like, oh, what lies did you tell her, or like what did you know. We don't have that conversation. Is that, oh, like I'll see them chatting up a girl at a motive. I'm like, I swear you have a girl. Then they're like, oh, da 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 da. I'm like, all right, first, that's you, innit? That's how it goes.
That's what
You
you
know
have
what I
a
mean?
girl.
That's
You
what
didn't
I'm
know
saying.
him
That's how it
before.
goes.
That's what you have a girl. Alright, fair
Yeah,
enough.
you know what I mean? But then that's what I'm saying. It's like it's not like, I'll have the conversation being like, are you sure like you want to carry on doing this because it's gonna blow up in your face? And then if they're like, yeah, I got this, whatever, I'm like, all right, first you do you, and we just, our friendship does not revolve around their relationship. How many times do you actually talk? How, like, can you say any of your friendships with an individual is based on their relationship with somebody else? That doesn't make sense.
Wait, wait. Who?
I think we need to talk
Sorry,
about the
wait.
closness of this friendship as well.
Who the hell is Nat Crowley, please? Someone's just made a.
I saw that. You've got a fan.
Okay, thank you. I guess I'm happy about that. But Tope, go on. Sorry.
Yeah, I think it's about how close you are with a friend as well. If it's just an acquaintance, then yeah, it's not really going to.
Impact anything, yeah.
Yeah, it's not really gonna be that that big. It's not really gonna impact you as much. But if it's a very very close friend, then it might, because you will be talking about your relationship all the time with this person.
So I feel like this is pointing to like a significant difference men and women have about these things, which is like this is exactly the kind of stuff I wanted to be getting into, because like this is right in the sense of like I do have friends also that I like that, and I think men just seem to view it differently. Like you don't think of like even the guys that are in that situation. I guess it is objectively speaking a reflection of like poor judgment, poor character, all that kind of stuff. But it's almost like for one of a better thing, like they basically have a better, like they basically view their male friendships as more precious in the same way. That's the vibe I've got, which maybe I guess that's a problematic way to view things. But BC's counterpoints are well noted, which is like I guess people do have bad stuff that do. I don't know if you're friends with a Fortune 500 CEO who's
That's what I was gonna
who's
say.
trying to
Funny
say,
enough,
let's
that was
make
my next point.
profits so we can destroy the planet. I mean, are you gonna stop being friends with them because of their
And let's lock in,
business
bro. Cut me a
practices?
slice.
Probably not. So it just seems like
No,
I
but
guess
even just
cheating is an emotional hot rod situation where
I was going to say, to bring it a bit back down to level, a lot of people have friends that in sales, and in sales, it doesn't matter what that person is going through. You have to get that deal done, regardless of like sometimes the ethics involved, right? So it's like, these people are capable, or anybody is really capable of like lying, deceiving, and backstabbing. But it's kind of like a case of, well, if they haven't, like Gunnar didn't snitch on me, though. Like if they haven't done something to you, if they actually maintain the integrity of your friendship, then
It's just
it's
just
just
not your turn
everybody.
yet.
Yeah, but if it's not, but then you can't prevent it from being your turn. It will happen to you. You know what I mean? Like you can't run away from life.
No,
You
for
will
sure.
like eventually be violated.
But then
Like
you
it's just
mentioned
what happens.
integrity. So where's your own integrity when you're close, like when you're friends with a person that does such? Because I just can't understand it to that
It doesn't
extent.
bother me. It's not part of like my integrity makeup or matrix. Like if somebody I'm not, because you have to understand again, it's not a case of every day I'm talking to that person about like the evils that they're doing, because again it could be wait, just so I say, because a lot of you guys will still have friends who are cheats, you just don't know, you know what I mean? So it's like, oh, fair enough, if you know, it can change everything, but
Yeah.
it's contextual.
But
If it's like I don't know like
mm,
what that person gets up to in their own personal life, then
yeah, good
it
point.
doesn't bother me.
But I also want
Can
to
I
ask you
ask a question? It's a
before,
different scenario.
before you
Oh, go
get to
on.
that. Let me quickly. I just want to ask a follow up question, Toba, because maybe I'm wrong here. Correct me, but I do feel like in the way you responded to that, when I've then asked you about have you had friends that have cheated, and you kind of say, well, not constantly. It kind of seems like you seem to be making a distinction between when men do it and when women do it. Like there's a kind of like viciousness specifically, whereas if a woman does it, you can kind of maybe understand it because there's some emotional thing and the guy was a bad guy. Is that something you feel like you've kind of thought about?
No, I just remember having a conversation with the person, and we both established that this is wrong.
Okay.
Shouldn't be doing it. So that happened, and not. I don't know if they continued or not continued, but that conversation was had. But with guys, it just seems like, oh yeah, that's just what he does. Let's keep it moving.
But why is that different from your conversation though? Because once you've had the
Well, I guess
conversation, you just
I
said you
guess
don't know if they carried on. So same with guys, we don't know if they carried on. It's like that, just leave them to do what they do.
I guess when the question was asked, it was about like it was asked to us, so how we would feel about it. So I guess it was about our integrity. So I wouldn't feel right not
Yeah,
saying something. So
exactly.
Fair enough.
I've said something in it, and I'm saying like I don't think this is a good thing.
No,
So
but so you just kind of like, let me not get into that. Fair enough.
Bissy, I have a question for you though, based on what
Yeah.
you're saying, because you said it doesn't bother you because it's not to you.
Yeah.
Like the same way this whole conversation started, you asked me where do I draw the line, which is why this conversation started. My question to you is the same thing. Where do you draw the line then when it comes to what your friends do to others? Where do you draw the line?
I drew the line at things that can blow back at me. So if I have a friend that does illegal activity, like banging fraud or F or whatever, like I'll be like, you know what? You getting locked up, you getting investigated, say like by police. Obviously, it's a mad example, right? I guess it's not that mad, really, but like that is something that will bother me because again,
Yeah.
I'm not trying to get probed, I'm not trying to get looked into or whatever. Not like I have anything to
Yeah.
hide, so I'm not really about that. You getting your window or car smashed in by a girl that you cheated on, that's a you problem. It doesn't really affect me. Any kind of like, well, I'll say actually no. To actually answer your question directly, my line will be drawn at that person trying to involve me. If you try to get me to lie for you, if you try to get me, what I mean, like, oh yeah, like, chat to my boy, he'll vouch for me. That's when I'll draw the line. Once you start involving me in that shit, as long as you do your thing and keep it on your side, then that's fine.
So that's what leads me to my follow-up question. So what if it's something that they're not getting arrested for, but that we all just know is wrong? So we know cheating is wrong. They're not gonna get arrested for that. But like so many people defend their male friends who obviously, sorry to take it there, but like that abuse their partners. Like that doesn't impact you. That doesn't land them in prison because it's not being reported. But do you not still like distance yourself from that person, or what do you do at that point?
I mean, yeah, of course, because again, like emotional harm, physical harm, I guess it's the same, it's the same spectrum, right? But
Okay.
for me, when you look at, it's actually mad to say, but when you actually look at cheating, 9 times out of 10, that person actually doesn't even know. So they're not in any pain as of right now. You know what I mean? So it's like I can stomach it because they haven't been hurt. Obviously, they're going to get hurt at some point when they eventually and inevitably find out, which is what I would tell that person. But it's like, if somebody turned to me, I was like, oh, I love cheating on people because I love harming them emotionally. Then I'll be like, okay, this guy has problems.
You know what I mean? You know what I mean?
But is
Same
that
with
not
abusing.
essentially what they're doing though? Because
No, yeah, but it's like it's not different, but it's a bit nuanced because again, it's like you're not hurting that person like well, you're not hurting them consistently because they're not finding out every single time. Say when you do it and then wait, when you do it and then they find out about everything, it's gonna absolutely crush them, which is again yours to deal with. When you're harming people like physically, I'm like I can't stomach that because that is that is physical. Yeah, you're actually physically harming them. Like that's just I can't stand for that. You know what I mean?
but
Fair
it's
enough.
okay when it's
You might call
mental.
me a hypocrite, but but if you're mashing up someone, I can't stand for that. But if you're doing something behind their back and not telling them, that's something that's like okay, then you do you. You know?
Interesting. I
I
don't know
guess
about that one.
but I guess the other thing
Fair.
to that for me would be like if you're even in the other situation where they are aware of the cheating, but I guess they could make a conscious decision that the partner that's kind of the partner's choice, isn't it? To make it like whether or not to stay with that person. It's kind of like I guess okay, maybe a weird scenario would be like let's say your boy was cheating on his girl, and the girl found out,
The girl stays.
and the girl stays, and then you're mad at him. So I guess you can still just be mad at him, but like I just go condone that. But I guess the person that's really the victim of the whole thing is like, well, we're gonna sort it out. Then, all right, fair enough. Then if she
But that
can
goes
forgive,
into a whole different bag. That goes into a
If
whole
she can
different
forgive, so
bag.
can I.
sorry,
'Cause that's what I'm saying. You can't, bro. Like you can't. When it comes to people's
wait,
relationships, you can't just
before
jump in the mix. Like,
let me
sorry, go on.
respond.
Go on. Then.
Oh no, I was just saying that's a whole different bag because obviously emotional manipulation is also a thing when we're looking at that. So, because at the same time, it's very easy from outsiders to be like, "Oh, why doesn't she just leave?" or "Why doesn't this person just do that?" But that's just from the outside looking in, isn't it? So that's what I'm saying. It's a whole different bag. So at the end of the day, my story is just that if I'm finding out that you're a serial cheater, you're not gonna be my
Wait, you
friend.
say serious? So like, if it's like the topic, if it's like a every so often thing, then it's more okay. Is that what you're saying?
No, nah, not every so often.
No one is saying it was ever okay.
No, I don't mean okay. I mean like you
Like,
maintain a
but-
friendship is what I mean. Not like it's okay. I mean like the friendship will still be intact. It's kind of why.
Daniel said we all make mistakes.
To an extent, that's true. So, like, I have a friend who has cheated before, but that was a one-time thing, and ever since then, for example, we had a conversation. Obviously, he knew my stance on it. We had a conversation, and it's been a one-time thing. Obviously, to my knowledge, I can say that it's been a one-time thing. He's now also engaged. You get so it's just like.
But at least
Yeah.
if the thing that was accomplished is that that friend knows that that's not something you want around them, then I still feel like that's also a win. Because
Exactly.
you made it clear that's a boundary that you set. Like, do you know what? Actually, I don't really mess with things like this, and they've made it a thing to even keep it from me. I'm like, okay, fine. If you don't want to stop, fine. But at least you know these are my boundaries, and this is what I'm not going to allow.
Yeah.
That's a fair
Same
point.
way I wouldn't keep around a friend who bangs judge. It doesn't affect me directly, but I don't want someone around me that bangs judge. You get me?
Yeah, but there are people that. But my point would be there are people that just don't care because again, it's like they don't believe in it. They don't believe in the faculties of what it represents. So it's like, all right, well, you're just a bit weird, isn't it? Because
Yeah.
again, like I would say, banging juju is still on the same line as people who believe in crystals and star signs and all that kind of. Like, more or less, kind of the same shit, really. But again, I was gonna answer. So Emanuela asked, "How would I feel if my future girlfriend or wife had a close friend who was a serial cheater?" And my response to that is, she better not let me know because if she lets me know, then that friend is gone. You know what I mean? Because I accept there's nuances.
Is it because birds of a feather flock together?
No, it's because like fuck that girl. You know what I mean? Like it's just it's just where it is.
Wait, but I mean, that basically sounds like you're kind of basically agreeing with Topper, which is kind of low key. You're concerned about the
No,
influence.
don't get me
of that
don't get
behavior.
me wrong. Again, but this is the point I'm trying to make is people do have friends that do cheat. People do have friends that get to all sorts of things. Whether they know is one thing. If they know, it kind of changes the foundation a little bit. But at the same time, it's like okay, well that person. If you're my girlfriend or my wife, and then you tell me that information, surely you would have known that telling me that would give me an emotional response because I don't know that person. If I
No.
knew that person. If it was like a mutual friend, say like my wife had a mutual friend that I also am friends with that cheats. I'm like, right, she's a bit of a
a lost cause, but like, yeah, she's all right. Like, let her do her thing. But because I do not know that person, that's why I'll have a response that will be out of proportion to possibly that person's impact on my girlfriend or my wife. Do you understand?
That's a fair point. That's fair because you could know her in the sense of like she might be telling you in the sense of, oh, you won't believe what this girl just did, but it's like you know she has a friend that's like that, and it's almost like you guys just talk about it in the sense of like, again, the hidden aspect to this is like a lot of people, sadly, is obviously men, but like a lot of people that are serial cheaters, they are using that oftentimes to mask deep emotional problems. Doesn't mean like what they're doing, they shouldn't take responsibility for their actions, and like it's not affecting people negatively, but the signs are usually like if you have someone that's like that, you know, there are deeper demons that they're fighting. And maybe there's something to be said about if you're their friend, trying to put an arm around them and trying to, you know, kind of quote unquote help them improve or whatnot and just, you know, reason it out with them as opposed to being like, oh, you know, this horrible thing you're doing.
Bend them off.
I feel like most people know like it's a bad thing to do. Like, they, you know, even people that do it serially, it's not like they don't know it's a bad thing to do. So that's probably where Bissy's point is kind of, it's like, if you know someone that does it serially, there's no point of you being like, oh, that's messed up, bro. Like, how can you do that? Like, they know it's messed up. They know it's kind of crazy. But, you know, almost every time, no one does that kind of thing or behaves in that kind of way. You know, and girls say it all the time. For girls, it's always like, usually it's a reflection of, you know, how the guy is, etc., etc. So it seems a bit simplistic to kind of like narrow it down to like, you just have this specific character flaw. And for me, anyway, I mentioned curiosity earlier. I'll be honest, I would just be more curious as to why exactly do you feel like, I guess, you need to do this or you want to do this? You know, what's the situation not giving you that you feel like you have to kind of look elsewhere for? And how do you think you can, you know, arrest that? Like, you know, are you always just going to keep doing this? Do you really feel like it's a sustainable way to be? And I think some people would be like, most people would be like, honestly, no, I don't think this is sustainable. This is exactly what I'm going through, etc. So, and I guess that's part of being a friend, right? Like putting an arm around someone and saying, like Daniel said, you make mistakes. A lot of the time, some of those mistakes are due to emotional stuff that you're fighting that your friend can help you get over. There are some people out there, again, especially men, sadly, who feel like that's just how they are. Like men, you know, men is just a biological whatever to like have different people and not see one person. Again, those people clearly are still also going through some kind of emotional situation. But you know, it is fascinating that men and women have, I guess, it seems to me like the different views that we have as men and women is probably informed by, you know, the ratios of cheaters there are in men and women. Like, you know, it's a lot of times it's men, so maybe it's a reality that as a guy you can't really get away from. Whereas as a girl, it's probably you don't see it that often. So if you do see it, there is a reason why, you know, I guess a lot of you won't even really imagine doing it, which is why like there's a kind of visceral reaction to like, you know, why would you be friends with someone that does that? Probably because if you pick out 100 girls, probably the numbers of them that have cheated is very low. Maybe that's not. Maybe I'm giving you guys a bit too much credit, but that's generally what it seems like the consensus is.
You're throwing them a life, bro.
You're doing their life, maybe. So that's probably why, you know, it seems a bit like. And I think, you know, again, Toby, you kind of said maybe not, but like I feel like that's probably where like there'll be more grace as to like, oh, you know, why is she doing it? Because again, because women are more instinctively more emotional than us, you can easily recognize that if someone is behaving in that way, it's a mask for deeper emotions that, you know, you'd be curious to understand why. Whereas as a man, I think the instinct is like, ugh, look at this, you know, whatever pests that's just like can't help himself, I can't control himself and just has to do this thing. Ugh, men are so, you know, insert whatever, you know, derogative diminatory phrase about, you know, men are like unemotional Philistines who don't have that like, it's not being guided by some kind of emotional negative sensitivity that they're experiencing. And he's always like, you know, you always hear the phrase, right? When a girl cheats, it's kind of like, oh yeah, but what's the guy not doing that's making the girl want to do that? You know, it's easy to say that when it's a girl, but when it's a guy, and again, it's harder to say that for guys because there are some guys that just do it a lot. And so it's not usually like the specific girl who's not doing something, but it's usually, again, like I said multiple times just now, often a mask for some deeper emotional trouble / trauma that, you know, the guys themselves need to address. If I view it from that perspective, I kind of probably just agree with Bissy and be like, sometimes people just be doing bad things, and you know, as much as I get you guys points, it would seem a bit, I don't know, harsh. Again, if the girl that says to me like birds of a feather and stuff like that, that's also a fair point. And I would not assure, but it's funny, you know, in as much as, you know, Bissy saying this and Daniel was up here earlier, I can hold my hand up and be like, if I ever told Bissy I was doing that, he would tell me like, what the hell are you doing? Like we have that kind of conversation. So it's not like, you know, I'm not trying to speak for him or anything, but it's not like he would condone it. Like, it's like he'd be like, yeah, go and do that, blah blah blah. But I guess him and I have the kind of friendship where I know him well enough to be like, he wouldn't want to do that. And if I was doing something like that, or someone like he knows we're doing that, I feel like he would have the conversation one day and I'd be like, yeah, I'm not really sure what you're playing at here, because him and I have had similar conversations like that before, so I think we're pretty much aligned on that. But I think, you know, where we also agree is like if you have a friend that's a cheater or a serial cheater, whatever, you know, description you guys want to use, it's gonna be like, honestly, in as much as, you know, it's a bad thing to be doing, you just gotta be like, fair enough, innit? Fair enough. Some people just be different to you. What can you do?
You get your comeuppance anyway, so it's like just accept it when they arrive.
Exactly. I think on that cheery note, I'm gonna wrap this up. These always end up going a lot longer than I expect, which is great. It feels like we're having a very good conversation, and the conversation did evolve over time. Hopefully, you guys enjoyed that. I think some of my personal self critique is that I could have made it a bit more structured. I was spending a lot of time trying to do the flyer, which is why it ended up taking me more time to think about the specific tone of the conversation, because like I said at the start, it's very important to me that these conversations are insightful. I'm not just trying to just come in here chatting about, you know, Twitter topics and this and the other. Like, I'm reflecting on what kind of conversations are we having to make a difference. We're not changing the world or anything. I mean, I guess we have changed people's worlds that are in here, but like, we are trying to like advance, you know, conversations and kind of learn from each other. So, you know, hopefully you guys have been able to learn quite a bit about male perspectives on different things, friendships, romantic situations, dating, all that kind of stuff. And that's what I try to do. I might be thinking about doing a female perspective, what women be talking about, and look to interview some of you. So if you're interested in having that conversation, message me. A lot of my friends are like scaredy cats and they never want to come and see how they really feel. But if anyone here that doesn't really know me that well wants to be involved in that the female perspective of this, we've heard from the men, you've heard what we think, what we like. If you want to, you know, share your thoughts, what don't we know about you as women? What are we missing? Please do message me. Let's have that conversation. And I think, again, as always, it's going to be very insightful, very useful. Thank you to everyone that's been commenting as well. We had a very lively conversation. The eventual goal is to try and do stuff like this in person. I think we can get there sometime this year. Fingers crossed. But the way I do that is by doing more of this, and the way that happens is by a lot of the continued support. So I do appreciate that. And if you have any conversations that you want me to have, please do let me know as well. I do this because I enjoy talking about these things, but there's also a lot of things that I'd enjoy talking about that sometimes doesn't occur to me. So if you're someone that's been in my lives before and you're like, yeah, I'd like you to talk about this, so I think it'd be interesting to talk about that, feel free by all means to let me know, because I live to serve you guys. I can't do it without you, obviously. If there was just me and two people talking in there, it won't be very fun. So all the engagement we have, the commentary, the kind of the kind of different back and forth and stuff like that, it does make it a much more fun conversation. So yeah, feel free to kind of suggest me stuff you want me to talk about, stuff you'd like to discuss, stuff you'd like to hear, you know, from. If you want to come on and be a guest as well, let me know that. When people join, I usually try to like get them to come on as guests, but to the extent that I can know who's going to be a guest ahead of time, it makes my planning a lot easier and I don't have to worry about it. So maybe some of that is my fault, because it can take a while to finalize the topics and the flyers. So I don't really release the topic until the flyer is done. Ends up taking a bit of time, and so the next thing you know, people don't really know about it until the day before, 2 days before. So you don't know if you're going to be interested in it. But like I said, I want to have what we're going to be talking about. So now you know what the topic is going to be. Maybe not next week, maybe the week after. If you have guests that want to come on earlier, I can do that maybe next week. If not, I do have a different conversation I'd like to do as well around what's it like trying to find love in the poverty capital of the world, that is Nigeria. But for those ones, I do need people that live in Nigeria that want to come and talk to us about that. I think that's going to be a very fascinating insight into the kind of dating norms and culture in Nigeria, because you know a lot of us here are Nigerian, but we didn't grow up dating in Nigeria, right? So we don't really know what that's like. I think it'd be interesting to understand how that differs to us, stuff like that, etc., etc. So if you know anyone that lives in Nigeria and would like to have that conversation with me, please direct them my way. That would be very, very helpful. In the meantime, I'm also going to try and find people as well. But to the extent that you guys want to hear about it too, maybe you know someone already, please feel free to volunteer them to me. All right. On that note, I'm going to wrap up this conversation. Thank you again for being here, for joining, for sharing this with me. 3.5.
But everyone keep like, let's get to 18K. Let's wrap it up.
Yeah, we
Like,
got to 18K
well, like
already.
17.7.
Oh, we got to 18K already.
Or 17.8.
17.9 now.
Oh, so I can't even see I can't see the breakdown.
It's rounded up. It's rounded up for you.
It's rounded up for me.
Yeah,
Okay.
Oh, okay. Now we're 18. Okay, cool. Thanks
Nice.
everyone. Love for tuning in.
Thank you so much, guys. speak to you next week. Same time, 2 p.m. by the way. And people always ask me, what time do you go live? It's the same time every Sunday. I'm tired of having to send that out. Okay, you can see in the flyer. Okay, so same time next week, 2 p.m. Join me for another exciting conversation. Bye, everyone. Thank you for
Peace
joining.
out.
Bye.
Bye.
See you guys.
Bye.
Thank you,
No worries, man.
Bye, bro. See you next time.